What is up, everybody? MuseMe TV.
Yo.
We're back. What's up, Irvin in the house? Yeah, that's what I like to say. See, do I know they're there? Get it fucking note on. Yeah,
There you go.
Crowd's going wild. We're here hanging out. Episode 98. What's up?
What's up, broski?
How you doing, brother?
Too bad, bro.
Chilling. Just took a shot. I feel it. Just all warm in the body. It just hits the bloodstream and it just goes straight through you everywhere.
I'm pretty toasty.
That's how it works, dude.
I guess that's the good thing about alcohol. You get nice and toasty. That's why homeless people probably want that shit all the time.
Or that's how it starts, right? They're like, how does one become homeless?
You just don't give a fuck.
Are you
anymore.
born at this, or does it kind of?
Sorry, I'm sure some are born into
It's
it.
both. It's
But do you think a homeless, like if homeless couple fuck and they have a baby, you think that baby just goes to foster care immediately, or do they think they just like, here's your homeless baby, get the fuck out of here, or do they take the kid away? Because if you're homeless, you shouldn't have a kid, like right? Like if you're literally on the streets every day begging for change and like you sleep somewhere in the street.
I don't know. See, that's where I've always been skeptical. I'm just like, why doesn't this person try to get a job or something?
Well, I mean, if it's a level of homeless, there's like homeless by living in your car, and there's homeless by just being completely no house, no car, nothing. Like you might not even have your social security or your license or any of that shit. You might just be a fucking washed up, just broke dick hobo, bro.
But I don't get. I just
Homeless.
don't.
Well, I guess homeless because you could be female homeless too.
Right.
But I don't know. That shit, you just not giving a fuck, man. It's just a level of not giving a fuck. If you don't give a fuck about paying your bills, working, maintaining a roof over your head and shit like that, then you become homeless. But fuck that, man.
That's something we don't have to worry about, right?
No, we do.
You actually, like, I don't know. My incentive,
We're good now.
I never want to be homeless.
I never want to be homeless, but
even
you
if
never
it-
know what life will throw at you.
Even if
sometimes.
it throws something pretty shitty at me, I would try my best to like make sure I live in a nice, suitable, like even
fucking like at least be sheltered, at least be
I wouldn't go straight
protected from the weather. And the
I don't know
natural
how some
environment.
people sleep at like bus stops
Dude,
or like fucking.
I'm a big dude. I weigh a lot. I can't.
Yeah,
I gotta
what are you
be
gonna-
comfy.
Where you gonna sleep,
you
bro?
gonna sleep?
Sidewalk is done, dude. You can't sleep on the sidewalk. You would be all hunchback if you slept on the side
You'd be
back.
all fucked up. That's probably why you see some of them walking all funny.
All right.
But that's fucking shitty. I guess, yeah, we're lucky we got beds over our house. But I don't know. Maybe mental illnesses too, not having a family. That'd probably be another reason why somebody's like homeless.
What's a scenario where you think that you would end up homeless?
Damn, man, live hopeless or homeless?
Homeless where you actually might have to sleep in the street.
Damn.
A scenario.
Scenario.
What do you think? Like, the only thing I'm thinking is like, oh man, I lost my job, and then my parents recently died. So
Yeah, I was supposed to say my life would just have to be a wreck. Like families are dead. Like changes have been made in my body that I can't reverse. Like I might have you got like hepatitis or AIDS or some cancer that's gonna kill you eventually. Maybe even that, like it's a mental thing too. Like if you fucking are homeless and you don't have like the intent, well, what the fuck? Because some people have mental illnesses. Like how many homeless people probably have a mental illness and that's why they're there? They didn't have support. Maybe.
yeah.
That's the scenario. There's probably people like that, but there's just so many different variables why somebody can go homeless. For me, it'd be like family died. All my family died. I'm just alone. I couldn't cope with the fucking grief. And
And then nobody wants to hire you at the moment.
it's just I can't get my life together because I'm just broken about losing my whole family, or I'm just like broken mentally somehow.
Yeah,
It's
because
like,
that's what I think at this point right now is like if worst comes to worst, at least I can go back with my family and shit. I can go live back with
yeah,
my
if
parents.
you have family, you have a good family to fall back on, and that's always good. I think people who don't are all on their own. Really.
Yeah, and that's kind of scary.
Because you
to
can
think
only
about.
depend on your friends so much. Like, you know, you got people that say, like, they family, but at the end of the day, you really only have yourself to an extent. Because, like, yeah, people might help you, but if you're not helping yourself and you're just being a fucking shitless layabout or just not giving a fuck and wasting people's time and space, then eventually you'll have nobody, really. Like, as much as we'd like to say we'd be there for a lot of people, after a while, people become too toxic and it fucks your life up. You have to make a decision. Do I want to keep my life in the same direction they're going? Do I cut my loss and just try to improve myself? Like,
That's how I don't know. That's how it goes.
it's a lot of shit.
I don't know how we ended up with a homeless epidemic right away.
Homeless epidemic. Just got homeless people all over the world.
So yeah, we saw you fucking. I actually just saw you jamming out on the bass, man. How long you been playing the bass?
See, I played it like right out of high school. not right out of high school. I went to college. I went to like public college, like C&M.
Yeah, what do they call it? Community college.
Yeah, community college. I was taking psychology. I wanted to be a psychologist. I wanted to be like the dude that has you lay down on the couch.
And
I
like,
just
how do you feel right now?
Or just like try to like some fucking Goodwill and Hunting shit. I was trying to be like Robin Williams, like, you know, be the ultimate therapist. But
Just no.
School wasn't really for me. But when I got my first tuition check, I had homies that I play with now. And they were all in the band and they had their instruments. I had like a little bit, but I never actually had myself like an instrument. For a long, I did have a guitar for the longest time.
Acoustic, right?
Acoustic. And I got that like in middle school because my cousin played it and I wanted to play the acoustic. And then, you know, that whole ego thing for a while. Everybody in the band wants to be the guitarist at first. Everyone,
Yeah.
I want to be the guitarist. And I was like that at first too, or the singer. But I can't really play guitar that well. Like my fingers just are too fat for guitar. Like,
No, that's an excuse.
I just can't get. It's not my thing.
Anyways,
But eventually, like, I started thinking about playing the bass and stuff like that. Because both the homies that were in the band, they actually played guitar and they played pretty good. And they can play by ear. Like, they could listen to a song and then kind of like pick it up if they're really into it.
nice.
But me, I couldn't do that. I wasn't like that. So I would just have to look up tabs or look at ways how to play songs, or they'd have to teach me and shit like that. And then guitar has too many special shit, like fingering stuff.
Yeah.
That like, honestly, if you weren't practicing since like young, or if you just don't practice the guitar or really have a passion for it, then
Different, yeah.
yeah, you should probably like put it down if you're not really that into it. So I wanted to play, and I played guitar for the longest time, but then I got into the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And when I got into the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I liked Flea's style and shit like that. I really started, that's when I wanted to start becoming like a bassist. Like, yo, I want to slap bass like that and do all that shit.
Did you fuck around on a bass before you actually got one? Or you got
That was just my guitar and the other homies' guitars.
Yeah.
Because all of us were guitarists and no
Yeah.
drummer, no bass. So I was like, finally said, you know what? I'll be the fucking bassist. That looks dope. So I remember I really wanted to slap. And before I even picked up a guitar, I used to just slap or bass. I used to just pretend to slap my guitar around and shit like that. Or my homies, and they would get mad, like, don't slap my fucking guitar. It's not a bass, motherfucker. You're going to break the strings.
Yeah.
And then when I got my first financial aid check from C&M,
Fucking cashed it in, dog.
boom, bought my first bass, well, my only bass, and a fucking really good amp. I spent like $160 on a bass guitar and like $600 on the amp.
Damn.
So I got an orange amp
That's dope.
because I wanted some good shit at first. So I copped that, and because I wanted to play bass so bad and I wanted to slap, I got really good at slapping within a short amount of time. I think when I first picked it up, it was like kind of like weird at first to try to slap because I never actually tried practicing. Then like a couple months in, I started getting it down, and then like half a year
Slap.
later, and I was like bick it, like how you heard me out there.
You hear it. You kind of play with it a little bit. Because that shit's pretty fun. Because I can kind of do it too, but I just... that you actually got a good rhythm going and shit, do it.
Yeah, that's a trip. My friends tell me that like they're all good at shit. My homie Fabian is really good at a lot of shit. He's probably the most musically inclined like out of the group. He's fucking really good at picking up shit with ear.
Yeah.
But he's basically good at a lot of shit. So are my other friends, but they say that's the only thing they can't get me on is slap bass.
Yeah,
like they can play the bass regular finger style whatever, but when it comes to that shit that I do, that big and shit like that, they can't do it.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I do have a rhythm for it. Like when I do play, I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
man.
it's a rhythm
It's
pattern.
a rhythm.
Yeah, that's so sick.
And I have it in my wrist, and it's easy for me. But there's also styles of slapping that they're kind of hard for me. Like there's certain things like it's really easy for me to do that shit. But there's more than just that. Like there's different ways to slap bass, but I think I like the way I do it because it's unique to me.
It's dope. Because I'll show you when we get out there like a flamenco style guitar.
Yeah.
When you kind of like...
Yeah, see, that's dope. If I
That-
could fucking play guitar,
That kind of has that same...
I'll
That's
do
why I see it
flamenco.
in you. I see it in that kind
I
of...
could probably do flamenco. Like if I got a good, because don't you use nylons
Yeah,
for flamenco?
yeah.
And they're a lot more like spaced apart.
Yeah, and you can
So-
get a lot of that slap sound like...
Just,
But
yeah.
that's what's sick though. When I hear you do it on the bass, I'm just like, that's what it reminds me of. It's like... It's so sick.
I fucking love that shit, bro.
And the finger picking too, it reminds me of a really fast like Iron Maiden kind of sound.
Well,
That's what I was
to-
thinking of.
I mean,
yeah.
I suck at doing covers, man. Like I'm gonna be straight up, man. I suck at covers. If I learn the song and I know it through and through, and then I practice it, I'll get it. But like as far as like picking up the bass, and then my friends putting on a song and they're like, oh, they already know how to play it by ear, and me, I'm just there like
trying to learn it, yeah.
and I have no idea how to even play it. So I've been better at that over the years, but like naturally, that's something that they're really good at. And me, I kind of have to, like, if I want to learn a song, I can somewhat now listen and pick it up, but I still have to look up a tab if I want to do a cover.
That's what I tell everybody too. Is like you can always learn as long as you just look it up. Like you can learn any song. Yeah. You can just take the time.
If you just get the tabs and what you need to do in your head and know what it is.
Yeah, you can learn the song.
You can practice it later, even if because you'll have to get your muscles used to doing that shit.
And some people are good at just figuring it out by ear.
Like my two dude, like especially Fabian, man, that dude can fucking figure that shit out.
I can't do that, but what I can do though, if I've never heard the song though, and I have this program called Guitar Pro.
Oh, okay.
What it does is like it shows the tabs, but somebody puts a musical note to it, so it's like actually like kind of like Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
But it shows you the tabs while you're playing.
Oh, okay. It shows you what you're doing.
Yeah, as it's going.
Oh, so
in the
it basically
song.
Tabs it out for you if you wanted to make tabs of your own shit.
Yeah, in guitar, it's like Guitar Hero, but with tabs on it. But I can play it so fast that if I know barely the song, like it's just like, oh, dude, play fucking that Red Hot Chili Pepper song. Like, fuck, I've never played that before. Like, let me get that, and I can play along.
Oh, okay,
really good
it gives you the tab. Oh, like well, that's like Songster. Songster is another like
there
tab.
You go. That's another one too. That was like a music app on your phone, right?
I had it and I paid for it. I'll probably pay for it now that I got my stimulus. I'll be like, you know what? Get some programs.
No.
Well, that was good.
Use your stimulus check for better stuff.
The app is like $5. It's not that much. Like, I buy it once and I have it for... No, actually, you know what? They started doing monthly charges, so fuck that.
I would imagine.
But I don't really do covers that much anymore to really want to, like... Because now I'm trying to find my own... If I hear a song I like, sometimes I'll try to learn it just to see where it's played at in the keys.
Yeah.
And, like, where those sounds are coming from.
And then
I'll try to kind of branch off into it if I really want to fuck with it. Or if I want to do a cover. Like, we'll do Blink-182 covers. We'll do, like, Sum 41 or Metallica, Megadeth, or, like, Nirvana or a bunch of shit, man. You don't like none of the bands I just named? That's fucking funny, bro. I like them shits.
No, that's all fun stuff, too, when you're, like, 5.
Well, yeah, but like covers to me is just like,
dude. Have you heard of the band Dream Theater?
Yeah, I've heard of Dream Theater.
There you go, dude. Have you ever heard of the band Primus?
Yeah, of course,
dude. That's what we should be covering, dog.
I can't do no Les Claypool shit. Les Claypool is fucking. Damn, that fool with the 6-string.
Oh, dude, and the fucking tapping too.
Because he does a lot more than just slap. And this slap. Like, some people use the plug. I use the pluck and slap. Some people just do thumb, all like bing, 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 bing.
Yeah.
Some of them will do the fucking...
Because the thumb is slap, right? And then the other one is called the pop.
Use your fingers. Yeah, you can use all your fingers to pop. If like, well, Les Clay, like the way he does in Primus, he's got a 6-string bass. So he could use all his fingers to like...
Pop, wherever he can figure it out.
If he does like a chord and fucking the bass, because it's a 6-string bass, so it's basically like... So if he just be like, bring, 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 he can plug all his strings and slap at the same time. But there's different ways too. There's different techniques. There's like one where you use your thumb to kind of give it like a sound.
Yeah.
Because it still has that popping like bass sound. But it has like that fingering flow, like that rhythm.
There's this band called Animals as Leaders. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
The dude plays a 8-string guitar. And his thumb, he has a great slap technique on it. And it's kind of like that. But he does like oh man, I can't even explain it. But it's like a really awkward 3/4 timing. Like a... Oh, dude, it's so sick how it's done. Like, yeah, just thinking about it is so sick. But thinking of it in like metric units of like drums and shit like that, just converting it into a drum beat is so crazy. I think I could probably find
That's something else that I got like surprised that I was decent. I'm getting decent at is drumming.
Yeah, because you have good rhythm. You're a good rhythm player, dude. That's how I see it. Anybody that has good rhythm and anything, because I translate almost all my instruments rhythmly.
So when you're making music, you kind of want it like the other instruments to kind of go into rhythm of what the other ones will.
You can feel it. Especially, guitar, that's different because I could fucking solo pretty badass on that shit.
You can solo on any instrument, really. You just gotta give it shine.
But when you hear the rhythm of it, like, and then you can actually do that with a drum pattern, and then you could actually do that with a bass pattern, you're just like, oh, it's pretty much basically the same thing.
Well, isn't all bands don't all, like, music is like that? Usually they're all going off the same rhythm.
Kind of, yeah. I've seen a bunch of 4/4. That's the most highly recognized beat ever.
Yeah,
like 4/4 beat. I don't know too much about like fucking music theory in that sense.
Yeah, me neither, man.
I try to learn it, dude, but then I get fucking
frustrated. Yeah. But look, man, there's people that read notes, that take music theory, that compose, that do all that really high level shit Like, but then there's people like me and you who we can play instruments and we can get a rhythm down and we can learn things. Like sometimes when you think too much about your music, when you think too much about it, when you're making the music, you want it to be as natural as you can, right? Like you want to get that instrumentation. So when you're getting that shit out there and it's coming naturally, it sounds good. But when you're trying to force something, even musically, it's like sometimes it doesn't always come out the way
at all.
Well,
it depends too. Like, there's some times where I'll just be practicing like basic licks and stuff like that, and then it turns into like a cool like pattern and stuff like that. I'm like, oh shit, this is sick. This sounds badass. I actually like the way this sounds and shit like that.
A lot of famous musicians would fuck around sometimes, just fuck around with their buddies and the instruments, and they'd end up actually coming up with a hit after like a while. Because sometimes you have to have fun too, man. People try to make it too serious. Like, we got to be super serious. We got to be like this. And, like, you kind of take away from the natural, like, fucking soul of the music. Like,
yeah, the creativity and all that shit.
Yeah.
Because, you don't, just jamming and just being just there hanging out, being creative with it is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Take it, bro. Take it. Take it, dog. Take it.
And sometimes, you make the best shit out of just fucking around. I think you definitely got to have fun at some point. Like, people just coming up with a song is usually fun, putting it together. But once you like had to actually like get everybody together, then you kind of have to get a little serious when it comes to certain things like recording or shit like that. Like once you coming up with it, you have as much fun as you can. But once you actually come up and you've written the thing and you have like the formula how you're gonna go about that song, and you got to go record it somewhere, then you got to be like serious. But other than that, it's like the process, like it's fun.
It is. It's so sick. Coming up with music is fun. Playing music is fun, and it does make you so much smarter. I don't know if you know this, but playing music makes you so much smarter because you're actually using so much more part of your brain at the same time, like memory and muscle memory, and like fucking like being able to think of the next note at the same time. Like there's so much different parts of your brain firing when you play music. When
you're making music, you got to be on time with everybody else.
Dude, it is so sick. Like I saw a video about it and I was just like, holy fuck, dude, that makes sense. Do you another thing too is are you any somewhat bilingual?
Yeah, I speak Spanish, man.
Orale.
My family straight out of Juarez, bro.
That too, dude. That right there just gives you a little bit of an edge over other people.
Because dude, with music, I'm so happy I'm bilingual. Because some days I'll bust a flow in Spanish or I'll sing in Spanish. Like, don't get me wrong, I was born here. My family, I'm like first generation. What would you call it? When your mom and dad is straight from Mexico. But you were born here because they moved over here. What, you're first generation?
Yeah, first generation. No, first generation. I would assume it's first generation. But if I don't know, let me know in the comment section if you guys know what it is. But if they came here first and you were born, you're the first generation that was born in America.
Yeah, first generation from an immigrant family.
Yeah, from an immigrant family.
My Spanish, because I lived like in the inner city for like a good minute, like I would say up into 5th grade, then I moved up to the mountains with a bunch of white people, and then like I didn't have Spanish classes out there, so my Spanish got a little rusty. But I can go to Mexico and talk to my family and hold a conversation. Like I can ask for things. I'm not like one of those really fucking broken Mexicans that just are way too Americanized.
Oh man, it feels like me.
I'm like, bro, my mom wants to take me to Mexico, bro. I don't even speak Spanish, dog. I don't know what I'm like. Nah, I can go to Mexico and go by myself and ask for like directions and shit like that. I could get my way around Mexico. I can communicate that well.
That's good.
But yeah, with music though, it's kind of cool that when you can speak a second language, it's cool, and especially because Spanish and like American is so that's like the language that's really intertwined with America, because no matter where you go, they always have some kind of Spanish translation for those, because like you go to like Walmart, they'll have some shit like in Espanol, they'll have like bathroom man, and then they'll be like hombre in Espanol.
Yeah, well technically that's only because if I remember correctly, in America the Treaty of Guadalupe, for when they bought the land or whatever, that was one of the rules that said anything ever that was supposed to be in America has to be translated
into Spanish.
Yeah, for any Spanish people.
Because I was gonna say you don't see no fucking sign that says man and then it says
yeah,
like in French or some shit
but
like
only
that.
In Spanish, because we bought that territory and stuff. That blew me away.
But there's still a lot of Mexican and Spanish influence in America, like around, like especially around the border, one's closer to the border.
Yeah,
definitely, but.
I mean, look at us. We're named New Mexico.
New Mexico.
New
right?
Mexico. You're still a part of it, supposedly. That's how beautiful that
They
name
made a
is.
joke when Donald Trump was talking about putting up the wall that he was going to accidentally put a wall around New Mexico because he thought like, oh, New Mexico is part of Mexico. It's a new Mexico. Like it's a.
There's this guy. I don't know if he's listening or not. Blockchain engineer. He's pretty funny. He was a comedian too that was working with me when he started.
Yeah.
One of his jokes were, if I can say it correctly, is like Donald Trump said, "We're going to put up a wall around America." What? There's a New Mexico? When did they start multiplying?
When did they make a New Mexico?
Or something like that. I can't remember
Damn.
exactly the joke, but it was pretty funny. I liked it. But yeah, that was some good shit.
That's some good shit. But nah, man, singing in Spanish, like I try to fucking buzz freestyles to in like Spanish. I just need to build up my like Spanish vocabulary.
That's me too, dude.
Because if I go to Mexico, like, you know, like when you talk to your other Hispanic friends who don't speak no Spanish because they're like third generation or their families are just straight Hispanic, they're Spaniards. They're like, nah, we've always been here since we started like this whole shit.
Yeah, we can. Well,
but they don't speak no Spanish. Like just New Mexican. If you notice, there's New Mexican people and they're like
my
Hispanic people, Spaniard people that don't speak Spanish. Some of them do, some of them don't.
Yeah, like my little brothers can't speak Spanish, but my dad is straight Mexican, and he doesn't speak any. Well, he can speak English, but doesn't really like to. But my little brothers understand it, but they just can't speak it so well.
Yeah, well, if you understand it at least, and you're like come from a family like that, that's good. But
eso no es bueno. Ese es la problema aquí en este país.
Que nadie puede hablar español porque no le enseñaron nada.
No le enseñaron el propio.
La propia o propio is it propio? See, O's and A's
see, that's
mean different shit. If you have an A or an O at the end of something in Spanish, it could mean something completely different. And it's not just like a female male thing, but like if you like jaro y jara are like different.
Jarro y jarra?
Yeah.
What is that?
Because I think like one is different.
Jarra sounds like isn't that a fucking...
There's like cochillo y cochilla. Like those have.
There's no such thing as cochilla.
No, there's cochilla.
No,
and
there isn't. I've never heard of cochilla.
No, exactly, because cochillo is like a knife.
Yeah,
and
knife.
a cochilla is not a knife. It's something different.
A cochilla.
A cochilla is something different. There's cochillo, cochilla. And cochilla is something different. Because I was trying to improve my... I had a Mexican girlfriend that her shit was on point, right?
Yeah.
And I was kind of insecure about it. So I started reading up on some Spanish books because I wanted to get my grammar, my Spanish grammar down, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. We like...
Sometimes we say el instead of la, and sometimes we say los instead of ellos.
It comes out wrong. Yeah. I sound white sometimes saying it. It fucks me up.
Yeah.
And I get mad because I'm like, my family will clown me on that shit. They'll be like, "Hey, hijo," like my Mexican family. But like people here that don't speak it, they'll be like, "Bro, your Spanish is so good, bro." I was like, you don't get it twisted. Y'all don't really speak it, so you think it's flawless. But my family in Mexico will be like...
Like broken as fuck.
They'll be like, you broken ass Spanish speaking mother. I get what you're saying. They'll be like, but damn, like
you're so American now.
Then it sucks, dog. That is like one of those things. The thing was in inner schools in Albuquerque, they had like bilingual class. They took the bilingual kids and they put them in a class so they could learn how to read and write in Spanish, and that was cool because all them kids in the inner cities that took them classes can read and write in Spanish and read and write in English. But like me, I was like, my parents got divorced, so I was only in Albuquerque for like I said, until 5th grade. And then 5th grade came and like my mom was moving around a lot because they divorced when I was in 2nd grade. And then like my mom started dating my stepdad at the time, and just we started like going from different house and spot and shit like that.
Yeah.
Until we finally moved up to Edgewood. 5th grade, in the middle of my 5th grade year, I go up to fucking Edgewood. And then it's like in this trailer in the middle of the woods. And it's predominantly white people, right? There's a couple of Mexicans, but they're all like whitewashed. At that time, to me, it was like whitewashed because they were all like wearing Vans, etnies, listening to rock music. I went from the inner city, like in the South Valley, to a bunch of brown kids listening to the same music and hip hop that I was and doing some ghetto shit.
Yeah.
To all these like upper class white people that had all this like fucking money because of their parents, so they had nice shoes, nice clothes, and they were more into rock music. I remember I fucking was the only kid that listened to hip hop for a minute until I met like my other homies in special ed and shit like that.
Don't say it like that.
I got out of that shit. That's a whole different story. But
yeah, but
like naturally, because like I was speaking Spanish first, they did put me in special ed classes because of my like, because it was easier for me to speak in Spanish when I was younger in inner city schools than it was for me to say shit in English. So once I moved out the fucking inner city and into the mountains, and that's when my like English was getting better and my Spanish was getting kind of like shitty.
Yeah.
Because out in the mountains they didn't have no bilingual. They didn't have enough Mexican kids that have like fucking
ESL classes and shit. Like that.
So all that learning in 5th grade, all that learning of read and write kind of went out the window. Like I can kind of read and I can kind of write. Like I can probably read better than I can write in Spanish. I can still get it down. But I probably should take a class one day. I should probably sign up for a Spanish class and just learn it.
Or just watch fucking Spanish TV and shit like that.
That shit doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Bro, you can only get so. I mean, with pronouncing shit, yeah, probably. If you put the subtitles on you, if you watch enough fucking novellas,
I think you can.
I'd have to watch so much goddamn fucking Spanish TV shows and put the subtitles on.
You'd be surprised how much Spanish shit is on Netflix right now.
But sometimes, right, because my grammar and my vocabulary in Spanish isn't that big, so when I listen to something in Spanish, they use big ass words. Sometimes when I'm talking to my family from Mexico, they'll have big like vocabulary words that adults would use in Mexico because that's their language.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, what? What does that mean? And I'll ask that a lot because there's a lot of words. I'm like, what? What the fuck that means?
Oh man, I'm trying to think of words now too, because that I work with the Mexican. Well, this happens too. Don't you work with like Mexican people that speak super Spanish? Then you're like,
super Spanish.
You get in a word where you're just like, fuck.
How do I say that? I saw, dude, it sucks, bro.
Para el dishwasher.
I just call everything a chingadera. Esa pinche chingadera. Hoy en el trastero, donde está la pinche chingadera.
Yeah, la chingadera.
Bro, because I can't, I know, and like, that's the worst, bro, because I feel bad. I've tried picking up bitches in Mexico with my broken ass Spanish, bro. Got nowhere.
Oh, man.
You gotta fuck it, I'm telling you, man. Men, we need our mouths to pick up females. Like,
that's what's better here now. And
it's either money, you fucking drop dead gorgeous, or you just know how to talk.
Just know how to spit game.
Yeah, and if I'm fucking trying to spit game and broke, like when you ever seen a Mexican ass motherfucker come in and like he trying to spit game to a girl and his broken ass sings and she's like, hey, you know me and you, she beautiful, like, you know, marry me, you know, fucking, and it's just like this, like for real, like they're like, hey man, you know, go to the room, you know,
you know, that's why they dress so extravagantly with the boots, the fucking skinny jeans, the huge belt buckle, because they have so much money and they're like, I can look however the fuck I want, and then I'll just get a bitch
here. Like
that.
in Mexico, it's hard to like really, like Mexico is more like you either broke as fuck. Like, I guess they kind of have a middle class. There was always this, like this urban legend. Oh, in Mexico, either you're rich or you're poor as fuck. And I'm like, no, there's in-betweens like here. But it's easier to have in-betweens here in America. Like, it's easier to be poor but comfortable. Like, I could be a paycheck to paycheck motherfucker. But I'd still be comfortable at a certain point. Like, you know, to a certain point. And in Mexico, man, you got to hustle. Like, you got to fucking hustle. Like, if you really wanted to make... I seen how my cousins were working when they were, like, 13, 14, 15. Like, really had that hustle. That's why a lot of Mexicans are hardworking when they immigrate here. Because I think about how fucking crazy that is, right? You're in one country speaking a different language, and you hear that it's better in this one country. So you migrate there with no papers and no shit. And you learn the language enough to get by. Like, that's some crazy shit. You think you could just... migrate to a different country? Like, could you go to fucking Europe and I'm gonna go to France and I'm gonna just live there, not knowing any French and anything, and just try to get by? Like,
I feel like the only way that I can do that, even you right now, just because of how musically talented we are, that's the only way we can get by out there. Is like, fuck it, let's go to France. I'm just gonna fucking just play my music, see, maybe I'll get some notoriety, maybe find a job, something like that.
We'd have to find a way to translate somehow. Probably it is Google. We have Google Translate and all this technology. So nowadays it'd be easier. But imagine just going to the country and just watching a bunch of French movies. Like, I'm gonna try to watch some French movies and see. You
know what I heard too is like kind of the same kind of fetish here in America, where like if you find like an Asian or something, you're just like, oh, that's pretty intriguing that they're like super beautiful and they're smart and stuff like that. Yeah. Same kind of thing happens in Japan, where they're like, oh, this American plays guitar and he's really cute.
Oh, you're so sexy, baby.
And they totally go into like another freaking music is, American musicians there are like really like, dude, they love that. They love that.
All over the world are basically, America's weird. We're like the center of media attention. Media attention. Well, and also other shit, but no, I know for sure media attention because, like, I don't know any famous Chinese actors that make movies in China or any famous French actors that make dope movies in France. But then again, we don't really be getting shit like that, and you have to go out your way to watch foreign movies.
Like I don't know if you recently heard of that movie that won a bunch of Golden Globes from what was South Korea?
Parasite?
Yeah, Parasite.
I want to watch it. I want to watch that, The Lighthouse, because I still haven't seen that. And I heard that one was good.
Yeah, see, and those are foreign films.
The Lighthouse too?
I don't know about the
No,
Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse is American, but I know Parasite. I know Parasite was a foreign film. I thought that was made here.
Yeah.
I just thought it had like a foreign director, but that was made in a different country, intended for that country, and America just took it and just threw subtitles on that shit.
I think so, yeah.
Because there's movies like that. Like Initial D was one of those.
Dude!
Initial D. You like Initial D?
Dude, I've seen the anime so much, dude.
My brother used to collect them when he was in college, and that's how I got a hold of them.
I have one of the race cars, an actual Hot Wheels.
Was it a Red Sun's car?
No, it's the
Oculus Speed Stars?
The 8.6.
The 8.6?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck it. Yeah. My brother got me into those shits, man. That's what got me into drifting. Like,
dude, that's the shit, dude. I fucking... it was probably like, 2013 when I first saw Initial D?
Yeah.
And that was the shit, dude. I fucking binged it, and I just fucking got into it.
Middle school, man.
Because that's an old anime, too. That anime is old. The
anime is dope. And they made a movie. That's how dope it was. They made a movie about it.
Yeah, like in live action.
But they never continued the story, man.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know if, like, the manga, maybe. But because they had the comic, or not the comic, the mangas.
Yeah.
And then they had the anime show.
Yeah.
And then eventually they actually made a movie. I don't know if you've seen the movie.
I actually did, but I didn't really like it too much.
I liked it to a point, but it was trying to like skim through a lot of what the beginning of it was, which I thought it was actually pretty dope. The whole story about how like he just goes from tofu to the fucking badass drifter, part of the Oculus Speed Stars, because he's just like such a fucking prodigy because he's been practicing since a youth.
I love how that metaphor came about too. It's like, oh, I'm gonna put this cup right here on the fucking cup holder in the middle of the ignition.
For the tofu?
Yeah, and you have to deliver it as fast as you can, but make sure not to drop any water
If you spill the water, then that means that you fucked up the tofu.
And it just doesn't get any faster there. And because it's so sensitive that the tofu fucks up because of friction.
Well, in the story, it's like he's doing deliveries, he's doing runs, and he's doing. At first, it's like it takes him like an hour and something to do it, and then eventually it's like, oh, okay, then it's like just an hour, and then eventually it's like 40 minutes, and then eventually he got so good it only took him 30 minutes to get back. In fact, right? But in the beginning, it said when he was building his shit, at one point he started getting he got sleepy, and he kind of like skirted off and broke the sushi, and then his dad beat his ass.
Oh shit!
And then that's when he adopted the cup in the fucking water with the cup in the fucking winner. Like, if you spill any of this water, then you spilled the sushi. So now he had to work with the cup. So when you watch the fucking anime in the first couple episodes, he already has the cup. He already has the cup in the shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're watching the cup, and it's like, oh man, is it gonna spill? Is it gonna spill?
Because then, with the inertia of the drift, it makes the water shift, and he's like, it just circles it instead.
Bro,
of
what kind of badass do you have to be of a driver, bro? That's some fantasy shit.
But okay, what blew me away out of everything of that show?
What?
Like, he wasn't even the prodigy. His dad was.
His dad was. Well, no,
Bunta
was dope. Bunta was definitely like a god of his craft. Like, he was like, he's basically as good as his son, if not even maybe better.
Smoking and driving. Dope.
All his eyes off. He's like, I fucking.
Not only do I deliver tofu, but I get there in less than 2 minutes.
It's 2 minutes. And he takes his. I like when he takes his homie when he blows the engine in the car.
Oh yeah.
And then he like rebuilds it, and then Bunta takes his homie, which is, I forget their names, and I don't know there's.
It was the gas station guy though.
It was his homie that works. His dad owned the gas station.
Yeah.
Because it was Tak Fujimara. Was it Tak Fujimara? And I can't remember the names. I'm bad at pronouncing.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna try because I'm a butcher.
Especially in anime, dude. There's so many names like that. That fucking. Do you remember who the main star is?
Yeah, fucking Tak. Like Tak Fujimara.
No, come on, you got this. Come on.
It was like fucking. Because I used to play the arcade game too. I used to love the arcade game that you had it. That's how popular it was. Remember the arcade game?
Yeah, dude.
But it was Tak Fujimara. Fujiwara.
Come on.
Fuji. Fuck.
Come on.
Tak is the first name. I know. I got that.
It's the first syllable. You don't have the name correct that much.
That's it. Damn it, dude. Tak Fujimara? I can't remember, bro. It's like Tak or Talker.
Takami.
Takami?
Yeah.
Takami.
Takami. Fujiwara.
See,
Yeah.
okay.
That's the main guy.
That main guy, because it's about the son. It's about Bunta's son.
Yeah, Bunta's son.
Because Bunta was definitely a god amongst his craft and what he was doing. But
and I love that you don't even find out anything really about him. He's just,
you don't. They could make a spin-off series about his. That would be dope.
Yeah.
Because like they never continue the story. Do you remember? Because my brother would buy all the DVDs of anime, and after a while there was just no episodes after a certain point. Because I remember him finding out his girlfriend was dating that older guy, then he flipped out, and then blowing the engine and getting the new engine, the sports engine, into the 2JZ GT. Didn't they put like a super engine in the fucking car? I can't remember.
They've done it like so many times too. Like the first time he was all upset, and then he learned about putting new engines and making his car faster, and then they did that, and then
because he blows the engine and the dad takes a hold of the car, and the dad's like, "Man, it looks like I need to upgrade my son to a fucking sports engine. He's that good, huh?"
Because you saw too how they it was like 3 stages, right? Like it was initial D, like that was like I think like 32 or 40 episodes.
Dude, my brother never got the rest of the DVDs. For me, it ended when he finds out his girlfriend is dating somebody else. His girlfriend gets they break up, and then she starts stops doing the whole shit that she was doing and starts trying to make an honest living.
Yeah.
But they're still not together. And there was like that one dude who had a chance with those bad bitches that drove the fucking R34, the Skyline, the blue Skyline, and like how he was on his way to meet her, but he took too long, and she thought he curved her. I was like, no, like all the love interest, bro. I used to get sucked into that shit too.
Yeah,
but
dude, that was the shit.
It was the shit. It was a dope show, bro. I remember I used to love that shit. But as far as I got, and I never got past a certain point, so I don't know what happens. But you tell me there's 32 episodes.
Yeah, that's just of the first season, and then it turns into another thing called season 2, which is called stage 2.
Okay, I think I remember stage. I might remember stage 2. Okay,
and then there's stage 3. The final stage or whatever.
But what happens after that? He just does he ever get back with that chick he dated in the beginning?
I think so, yeah.
Because I never that never happened. That hasn't happened yet where I was at. Because I was always wondering does he get back with that girl that he was with in the beginning that was hoeing herself out, and then she got caught by him. Because remember when in the movie he sees her get out the car and he's just he runs away, bro. I'm like, what? All heartbroken.
I know, right? They made it so dramatic. That was the shit, though. Anime was
this shit.
Fucking slice of life kind of thing, too. That's what I liked about that anime, because it wasn't like, oh, I need a special power, or I need a power
Dragon Ball Z, basically. It wasn't like, I'm gonna fucking it wasn't.
But there were those scenes where he had this freaking aura about him. That
was because of the drive. That shit was
he's
dope.
so aura about
it. It's wait a second. He's figuring things out in his head when he's driving. He's such a naturalist at it that he doesn't even know how. Doesn't even really know what a car engine is and how it works. He's just I just get in it and drive like.
Euronymous, did I say that correctly? He said my friend imported an A86 from Japan.
That's fucking dope.
I've seen those too. They've been if you're gonna get one,
the show definitely popularized that car, but I'm sure that car is still beast.
Yeah, that car's sick. I think it's a Corolla model here in America.
Yeah, it's like a Corolla. But it was the sports. Because in Japan, they were making sports versions of a lot of cars that I don't think made it to America.
Oh, okay.
Because the Skyline, it didn't come to America until I don't even know when. Because that was a fucking...
And that was just because of the movies, right?
Was it the movies, or was it just because it was too fast? Because I heard that certain cars from foreign countries were so fast they could outrun their local authorities. Like the government cars weren't as fast as these cars. So if you were rich and had this car and you just...
You were out of there.
You avoid the cops, and they never made laws against people driving super fast cars. In America, they regulate shit like that.
Interesting, because I didn't know...
You can't drive a sports car. You can't... cars that you see at the drag races? You can't drive that shit in the street legally. It's too much fucking horsepower to be in the street. You could outrun a cop.
Too much torque in that shit.
You could fuck somebody's life up with one of those cars on the street. But... What did you say, though?
What's up, Kevin? How's it going? And Euronymous said, I guess from the 8.6, they swapped an RB20 into it. I don't know what that means.
RB20 is an engine type. I don't know what engine type it is.
I don't know. I have a Subaru right now.
Because I used to know cars shit for when I was younger, because my older brother knows his car shit. He knows how to fix a bunch of shit and do shit.
Dope as fuck.
That's his natural shit that he likes to do. I'm fucking musically and all this shit.
And there's some things but
I looked up to that for a while, and I got into cars, so I know that's an engine type. I don't know what engine it's from. For me, I knew my 2JZ GT, which was a Toyota Supra. engine, and that was like the one from like the Fast and the Furious, the first one, and that was the motor, the really fast motor. And there was like an R34, like the R34s were, I don't know if that was the motor name.
RB20 from an R32 Skyline.
Okay, so yeah, it's from the Skyline. So so the Skyline motor, yeah.
Okay.
So it was a Skyline motor. Definitely.
So see, that's the beauty of that shit too. Is like, let's swap motors, and they probably have to do a whole different intake design on that.
You got to do
right?
a lot of shit. My brother said when you do something like that, you even have to change it was motors. It was like definitely.
This is it's like fucking
transmission. That sometimes too, you had to change the tranny too because the like tranny might not be able to handle all that power from the engine. So you would have to swap out or do different shit to your transmission if it wasn't built for that. And if you wanted to do shit like add turbos on your car, then you have to get forged pistons and forged rods and shit like that because the pressure from a turbo on a regular motor that's not designed to take a turbo will fucking blow.
Oh shit!
So when you do shit like swap turbos, and when I learned about turbos, that was cool. Cause like turbos, like you can't just. I was like, what if I get a turbo for my little Escort? He's like, you blow the fucking engine. Your turbo, you fucking little Ford Escort can't take a turbo.
That's what I'm scared of now because I want to put some turbos in my shit, bro.
But if your shit is not forged, because you need forged like shit for turbos, especially for like a sport. Like if you're trying to do some fucking shit like that, you need forged pistons and forged rods and a forged motor. I think I can't remember, man. It's been a minute since I dipped into car shit. A long time.
Kevin, we're just hanging out, chilling, just having a chat. He said, "What's happening here, guys? Just chilling, bro.
Chilling, bro.
Let us know what do you have a car? What kind of car do you drive? Let us know in the comment section.
I got it. Them street, man. I used to want a street race so bad. I used to want to be like the motherfuckers.
I say that all the time to this guy at work. I'm just like, bro, I'll hit you up right now. Let's go to fucking Montgomery, bro. Let's go to the Sonic, bro.
Sonic, it just fuck that, bro.
Let's go to the Sonic right now.
When I was a little kid, man, and my older brother was the one driving, and that's when like the Fast and Furious movies came out, and I would see him drag racing with his friends. But Montgomery was they said it was popping back in like the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
Late 90s, early 2000s, Montgomery used to be popping in the parking lots. Like people used to just do donuts and do a bunch of shit like they did in the. You see in other cities where they do that shit or in the movies.
Yeah.
Like it was like that. They said for a while. Then the cops really cracked down and it got broken up, so they couldn't do it as much. So now you just see a bunch of boring motherfuckers got nice cars. Yeah, they got nice cars. They got dope shit. But they go to fucking Sonic and they just park there. And shit is fucking boring. When I used to go to my brother, I thought it'd be cool. And people would be racing and they barely ever raced. And when they raced on Montgomery, it was like dumb because you know they're going to be there. The cops are going to be there to watch you out. So I risk Montgomery. Go somewhere where they're not.
Okay.
And really, but I've only seen a couple of like, my brother's only took me to a couple of spots when I was younger where they actually were doing some shit. And then the cops came and everybody scattered. Like that happened once and it was so cool.
Dope.
But it was not, I never got to, it was always just boring ass Montgomery. And everybody's just like, yeah, my car, I fucking got a turbo. So what, bitch?
Everyone's just showing off.
That's everybody. And they got some badass bitches too, and they're bored out of their fucking mind. Like you can tell the guys that had girlfriends, right? They're just there to be trouble, but they're bad as fuck.
Right.
And the only reason they have motherfuckers because they got nice cars. Because you know they make money to make. You have to make some decent kind of money to have shit like that. Or everything else in your life, you just don't put money into. Besides your car, you live in like a studio apartment,
right? Yeah,
ramen and barely anything, but you got a dope ass car, and that's what you put your money into. Like, fuck yeah. But nah, like it's boring as fuck, man. It's not like how you see in other like states like California or like Miami or places where they really like
block off a bunch of like sections of it and shit.
Yeah,
like,
where they
block off.
Like they'll do some shit or not, just get people together, like a group of people, like a big group, people doing donuts or tricks in their cars showing off, and other people racing and shit like that. Like they don't make it as extreme as I wanted to see it. Like I was like, oh man, it's not like you see in TV or like in movies. This shit's really boring.
It's not
like
flashy, yeah.
And I used to go and I used to be like, man, and you could tell like the females would be bored as fuck, dude. They probably cheating on their boyfriends. Like a bunch of them were probably cheating. They're probably just there because he has money, and the dude just wanted to have a trophy girl. Like, she's got my car, she's got my girl, bro.
She's here with me right now.
She's like, I don't know what any of this means. I'm so bored. Like,
yeah, some of it seems like that too.
It just seems like that, and I'm just like, ugh, I hated it on that shit. I was like, ugh. It was like after a while, I was like, I'd rather just see the real shit. Like, I want to see racing. I want to see like motherfuckers running from the cops. Like, I wanted to see some extreme shit, but. Only once did I get to experience some cool shit like that, and that was it. Most of the time, it was just Montgomery.
That's funny, because I've seen those guys a couple times where I'm just like, oh, look, there they go. There goes the caravan to fucking...
Sometimes they'll meet up at Montgomery, and then go meet up somewhere else to actually go race. And I seen a bunch of races. Like, I seen drag races often, but it was never as extreme as one time where, like, It was a bunch of people, and everybody was drag racing. There was money being bet, and then I know where the cops come, and there's like 10 of them, and then everybody gets in their cars, and they just drive off. Dude, it was dope. Nice. That was the only time we got away, and it was dope. Other than that, it was just like, meet in Montgomery, go meet up somewhere else, race on Montgomery.
And hopefully don't
and get then pull over to the sign and talk to the guy. They just raise like, yeah, man, I got a fucking, 6 minute fucking.
This is what I got in mine. What do you got in yours?
Man, I got a system. I got fucking Pirelli tires, fucking Brembo brakes, fucking saved them.
My 212s are slowing me down, bro.
Might take out my shit. I was gonna gut the back, take out the passenger seats in the back, and just have me, It just got boring after a while, man, because it was just my older brother who was really into the car shit a lot. And I was just looking up to him. Eventually, I kind of outgrew that whole. But I still take interest in learning about vehicles because, you should know how the one works, and I'm blessed that I have a brother that knows that shit that could teach me too. I could learn. But, you should learn about, how to maintain shit at least. But it's cool that I know a little bit more about cars because of something like that.
Yeah, obviously, you know what a fucking RB20 engine is.
It's been a minute, bro. So, I know it's an engine. I just don't remember what it's from, bro. It's been years, bro. 6-7 years since I've been into cars. I used to have a homie, and he was really into cars. He's still into cars. And that was his passion for sure. But for me, it was kind of just like a passion to a point, and it was a phase. And I was like, all right, now I'm going to get into my real shit. Then I became more of an individual.
Start doing your own thing.
Do my own thing. And that's when, music has always kind of been around, but then I started taking things like music more serious. But that show, though, was lit. Show was lit. It was cool. But honestly, if I got rich, I probably would buy a Skyline, though. I ain't going to lie. I'd probably have a Supra. I'd get a Skyline. I'd get all the cars I ever wanted since I was young. I'd still probably want to get some fast cars, but man, for now I'm really just trying to focus on more on having musical equipment, buying shit that I'm actually trying to make into something.
Right, yeah, something that might invest in something
that goes into it, because my brother and them, they got 4-wheelers, they got all them hobbies and shit like that, but can you really make money off of it? Are you that good with them that you can make money?
Right. Do you see them doing backflips on the 4-wheelers?
Nah, you don't.
I would totally pay $20 if he did a backflip right now.
On a 4-wheeler, I can do a back. I could probably attempt a backflip. I could probably.
But on a 4-wheeler.
But on a 4-wheeler, just you probably I don't know, man. 4-wheelers. If you're a crazy ass brave motherfucker, because you see bikers and motorcyclists do it. I don't know.
Yeah, those ATV guys and shit like that. Fucking.
They can do that shit. When you play fucking that one ATV game, but people can do that shit. That's their shit though. But I like music, man. I'm not trying to risk my fucking body, right? Because imagine if you do all this shit, because you're real passionate, but it's doing this in music, right? You got a bunch of instruments, so obviously music is a bigger passion than the cars and any that kind of shit. And this. So imagine you doing some shit like that, your side passion, because there's things that you still get into, but you don't really put as much money or time and investment into, but you're still kind of I kind of get passionate about it every time to time.
I like doing it and shit.
Every so often, but I'm not trying to make it into something huge, right? I like fucking cooking and shit like that, and that's something that might be if I'm not doing music or trying to do comedy or trying to do something in entertainment, then I'm probably gonna really invest in cooking eventually.
But music though, that's something where it's fuck, I hope this takes off.
Yeah,
that's something.
But imagine doing some side stupid shit and then you fuck your hands up. Imagine racing and then you broke your arm or they had to amputate it and now you can't fucking.
Or you fucking play. You were feeding a tiger and you actually lost your arm.
Yeah, or something. So you broke your shit to a point where you're just all for the rest of your life and you have to learn how to adjust. You can try to learn how to play the instrument and adjust, but you're never gonna be the same. So do you really want to risk that shit?
Yeah, that shit's pretty difficult.
That shit's difficult. That's why I'm I did like cars, but after a while I was it's not my real passion. I like it. I like knowing things about it, but at the end of the day, I'm not trying to make that my.
Because that's hard work too.
That's
people that work
too,
and work and work on cars and shit like that. That shit's difficult as fuck.
You gotta buy tools.
I'm fucking fuck, dude. Having to take out motors and fucking dirty jobs.
Lifts, cherry lifts, fucking oil pumps, all types of shit, pneumatic tools, air compressors, bro. If you're really passionate about cars, it's expensive, bro.
That's a big hobby.
So is music though, because musical equipment is expensive as fuck too. Microphones, even this shit, things are expensive, man.
Yeah, you want to get I want to get a new guitar now, but I'm fucking fuck. It's gonna be if I really want to get what I want, I'm spending at least 7 or 8 bills on it. I'm not fucking gonna be oh, let me get the $200 guitar.
Well, the bass, I felt for the moment that I was
no.
When I got the bass, I was a little bit more cheaper than the bass because I wanted to have a good sound. I wanted the amp to project good sound.
Better than the bass.
Better than the bass. The bass definitely does make a difference. I picked up that $1,000 bass at Guitar Center and plugged it in and be oh, this does feel nice.
I know why. Yeah.
But the way I play, I'm such a roughneck motherfucker when I'm playing it that I'm like, it'd probably be better if I get a little bit cheaper because I'm really practicing technique. And once I get my technique way better and I feel like I've elevated to a point, because I'll notice like when I was playing guitar, right? And I started playing the acoustic guitar, which I had, and I didn't really take care of my acoustic guitar very well. I remember it got like warped from like moisture damage. And I didn't really notice like, because when it happened is when it got moist, the strings, it like warped the wood so the strings actually kind of lifted up more from the fret.
Yeah.
So when I pushed down on the frets and stuff like that on the strings, like the strings that were like above would touch my skin. So if I was trying to do something, I had to hit all the strings, but I wasn't pushing down all the strings, then it would mute it because the wood, the distance from the strings to the fret was like greater because of the damage that went to it.
The action.
And I didn't notice it until I started getting better at guitar. Once I started getting better, I was like, man, why is it so hard to push these down? And then somebody was like, bro, your shit's all fucked up. And then I took it to guitar, so I was like, yeah, your shit's fucked up. The wood damage. And he explained to me what it was. And I was like, oh, so I feel like with bass, I got to get good to a point where once I'll be like, okay, I need a new bass because now I'm starting to notice things. I've gotten so better that why can't I do this or why can't I do this? Oh, it's because my bass might be damaged or maybe I just need a better quality bass. But yo, I think the sound is important too.
Because that's how I feel now is like I have a guitar that I play with all the time. Just like, God, if I just had a little bit better guitar, I would fucking sound amazing.
Sound amazing. And you have to work towards it. Like, I didn't want to buy a fucking like $400, $500 like bass guitar yet because I knew I was kind of like bad at taking care of my shit.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to like have a $500, the $600 amp. It still works good. Like it's a little dirty and scratched up. And I've had it for like almost, when is it? I think 2012 or 2013 is when I started finally picking up the bass. Is when I got my first college tuition check because I think I took like a year off once I graduated high school, and then I signed up for C&M.
Okay.
And then I got my fucking tuition check. And then boom, bought my first amp, first bass.
It's like 8 years something.
So yeah, 8 years. So I gotten pretty, like even in the short time I gotten pretty good, but I haven't practiced enough yet. I need to start practicing again. And I've been getting better at rapping too, so I'm trying to put those two together, like in a way that hasn't like.
Because that'd be dope. A lot of people incorporate like some kind of rhythmic pattern in their rapping. Like I've seen some dude play like guitar, but he doesn't do anything intricate. He just does some pattern, some beat,
something simple.
but it still goes with the rhythm of what he's singing and shit like that, which is pretty dope.
I think I could take it to a new level if I can really master. I think what I have a hard time with now is singing and playing at the same time, or just rapping and playing at the same time. Because you heard me playing that shit. My shit can be kind of intricate, but it's rhythmic too.
Yeah,
you can feel the rhythm. Like you could probably dance to my shit if you were hearing it or get down to it. Like it gives you enough rhythm. But for me to do that and rap at the same time, like I think if I can master those two, then I'll be fucking cherry.
Get some shit going.
I could get some shit going. Exactly.
That's what's up.
But music was the first passion, man. Music was really a bigger passion than the cars and shit like that. So that's why, like, man, when I fucking dropped that money, it was a good investment, man. I try to make better investments now, more on shit that I need. That's why I got my MacBook. I got a mixing board. I got a studio microphone. I got a bunch of other shit that I've acquired over the years that I try to use. But it's just good things to practice too, like you said. When I first get the bass, man, I'm slapping and shit like that. I'm doing good, but I neglected it. So now that I'm practicing again, I gotta wait till I get really good, and better again, and so I can start noticing if there's anything wrong with my bass, or maybe I'm like, you know what, and go to guitar. Because when you go to guitar center, you pick up the $1,000 bass, he's like, whoa,
totally big difference, yeah.
But I kind of like my bass because I'm like rough sometimes. Like I'll be like really into it. I'll be like beating the beat, like beating my shit down. And if I have like a really fancy bass,
you don't want to ruin it.
I don't want to ruin it from just going fucking ham. Like I might get a really good bass for the more melodic shit. The more like the melodic shit I was playing a while ago before I went into the crazy slap shit.
Yeah. Because I think finger picking.
Like finger picking and shit like that might be better on like on a higher quality bass. But like when I go slap, dude, I pull them shits. I'm like bick it, like really hitting it hard. So I might fuck up a better bass. But I kind of like this one for that reason. It gives me that. I gotten used to it. There's always that weird adjustment when you get a new bass that kind of has a different style and feel to it when you're holding it and playing it.
Yeah.
Like when I go to Guitar Center, I'm just like, well, this one doesn't feel as good as slap with is the other one that I have, or a different one.
I get you. That's always the weirdest thing too. It's just like feeling the custom, because I'm pretty sure a fucking Fender guitar is so different than actually jamming on like an Ibanez and shit like that. And that's actually like tone wise, and not only that, but like everything. Like it's more the way that it feels and shit like that.
Yeah, the feel to it. I mean, some of them are meant for certain types of music too, like easier to play certain genres of
Fuck
music.
no, I'll still fucking get.
I'll still get down on whatever.
Yeah, I want to get a Telecaster and play a bunch of metal on it.
Play it, man. Yeah, it was like the iconic one. I think even fucking Kurt used to get down on the fucking Telecaster. A lot of them motherfuckers used to get down on those.
Telecaster's sick.
They are that's why I heard about them, right? Because back in the day, weren't they like cheap guitars back in the day, but they were decent quality cheap guitars? Wasn't that the theory behind Telecasters?
I think so.
Back in the day, now they're so iconic that they're now a rarity and like a lot more expensive for a good Telecaster. But like back in the day, they were the really good, decent, cheap guitar.
Yeah, they were like the cheap Ibanez or something. And nowadays, well, technically any brand has a cheap version of it now.
When it comes to like the way the neck and the design, you can tell like, oh, this is modeled after that. Or
Fender
like,
Stratocaster from Mexico.
Well, you see, it says it's all misspelled. It's like Fender.
Mexico. Made in Mexico.
Fender Stratocaster.
What's some other fucking... Oh, shit, that's made in China and shit like that, too. Different than American-made guitars.
Chinese and Japanese people with their music are fucking wild, bro. Their skills are wild.
I love, like, baby metal and shit like that.
I never even fucking heard of baby metal.
Really?
I've never heard of baby metal.
Or Ladybeard? Have you ever heard of Ladybeard?
Ladybeard. I've never heard of any of these fucking bands, man.
That is, like, Japanese metal to the, like, intenseness.
Because I'm curious about, like, other countries' like, popular music. Like, that shit. Like,
dude. Or CL. There's this girl named CL, fucking sickle ass like rapper chick. Mm-hmm. She's dope. Turns me on.
A bad bitch you can rap.
Yeah, dude. There's a bunch of different. You've heard of BTS, right?
Yeah, I've heard of BTS. I see that
BTS.
Shit.
Those guys go crazy.
I don't know really much. I just see it all the time on YouTube. I just never click into it, but I just know it's like Korean.
Yeah,
pop music.
Korean pop, K-pop.
BTS a band or is it a genre?
It's a band.
Oh, okay. So I'm just like BTS because I see that shit. I just never click into it. So
the genre of them is called K-pop.
Oh, K-pop. So it's a genre. It's from K-pop. Okay.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's a BTS band.
BTS band. Well, that's cool because of social media and us being able to connect with other countries because there's some countries are on our level with the technology of social media. So now we get to see other countries like music.
That's true.
They have this app, I think, and it's like you can pay for it and shit and watch what local, like what people in other countries are watching on their local TV stations and shit like that. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool.
You can kind of feel.
But it's probably it's probably filtered to a point because some countries, bro, have no filter with their media, bro. Like if you go to Mexico and you go pick up a Mexican newspaper and it's just like 5 people were killed outside of Walmart.
Cartel kills.
Cartel kills 5 people outside of, and then it shows a picture of the guys in the car all like dead with bullets riddled in. I'm like, damn. In America, they don't really show that shit. They just show like a fucking picture from like far as fuck away. It's like a building, the car where it happened,
the murder
tape
scene,
and everything, the murder scene. But there's no like straight in your face
body
just lit up with bullets. Like somebody's family's reading those magazines, like, oh, you'll feel like
not this again.
Like seeing that image. Like imagine if you got somebody in your fucking family or somebody you cared about got killed, and all of a sudden you see their dead body, like dead face all in the newspaper. Like you would feel a certain type of way. That would be fucked up.
That would be brutal. Fuck yeah.
Like if like your parents, somebody in your family died, your mom or something died, and also in the newspaper it has a picture of your mom being in a body bag with the dead face and they're zipping her up, and that's like, oh,
everybody sees it.
Yeah,
they just keep showing you the picture. They're like, hey guys, is this your mom?
Is this your mom, bro? Is this your mom?
I could have swore I saw her yesterday.
I saw the picture. I'm so sorry. Like people just bringing shit up. Like that's fucked up. Like, but that shit happens in Mexico. I'm like, whoa. That's pretty cool though that you get to see other media, but I think they probably filter it because I'm like, if you're watching another country's local TV show, they probably don't even like let America. There's probably countries, right? They have shit that they don't try to let American people see. Like, no, we can't show America this shit.
Or it's just like their news. Like, you know, how can we really relate to like local politics and stuff like that in another country? Yeah, when it's just like
when we're so used to what we are used to.
Yeah, like again, even in states, like we never hear about every news story that happens in every state.
We don't. You're right. We don't. Like you have to only the major stories get worldwide. Like
barely. Because like something horrific really can go on in Michigan, but it can't really break national news, but it breaks like
American news. Like if there's a fucking school shooting, that breaks like all American stations hear about it. Like even like local stations will talk about it. Like, oh, there's a mass shooting.
In Boca Raton.
Some fucking different state that's not us, but Like only big tragic news makes it to like the nation. Most of our like small bullshit stays in our own station.
Yeah, you don't hear like the whole 2 people gunned down in standoff in local parking lot and blah blah blah.
Like local shit like that usually just is like whatever because it's not extreme. If it was like local standoff leaves 10 cops dead, 20 people murdered, then it would make like national news. Like, oh,
barely.
No, like know. American news, all American news.
Maybe like
it had to be something horrific, like the Boston. You think the Boston Marathon or like 9/11 made national news around the world?
But 9/11 is different.
9/11 definitely had to make national.
So
news,
like
right?
okay,
we invaded a whole country after that shit.
Say if somebody came into New Mexico, so New Mexico news, there was like fucking 10 killed in a car accident.
Yeah, that's not gonna make national.
Yeah, that's not gonna make national. But horrific 10 killed in a highway accident still wouldn't make it.
Even 10 people killed in a church probably still wouldn't make it.
Right? Even something dramatic like 10, well maybe like 10 people found in a church killed, like that might make some dramatic.
Not make like America, but it wouldn't make national. If we're talking about worldwide, like even the other news are covering.
Yeah, that would not make it.
Like the tsunami in fucking Japan made national news. We all knew about that shit.
Yeah,
big horrific events that like natural horrific events like volcanoes erupting or tsunamis happening or a big hurricane fucking up a country really bad or like a city. Well, here that shit usually makes national news, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
Most of the time, like well, no, see, like I'm pretty sure people in like fucking Rhode Island shit don't hear when a fucking earthquake hits in California.
But it depends the level of it, right? Earthquakes are common in California. It's the point where like, oh fuck, another earthquake, god damn it.
Yeah.
But like,
okay, so like if you're something like a
small,
hurricane
right?
or something,
like a hurricane that causes like a big amount of damage, it makes like some kind of news. Like it had to be pretty. Like it probably make U.S. news. It might make.
Yeah, look, we didn't deal with
because a hurricane might affect other countries, so countries are going to keep an eye on like if there's a hurricane in between us and Europe. Europe is going to be covering because it might go to there, or we might cover because it's coming to us. So everybody knows. But then once it goes to one side, then you're like, okay, the other country, do they? Oh, okay, it went to America. Fuck it. Anyways, let's go about our own business, or do they keep talking about it? The hurricane that we thought was going to hit Europe is not going to America. Yeah, let's see how they're handling it. Do you think
it moved left?
Yeah, it moved left away from us. Should we keep covering it? No, fuck it, move on. Even if like we get hit, and we're devastated by it, or a state is. But like. You don't really hear about that shit too much unless it's a really horrific. Like a fucking earthquake in California is common, right? But if it was an earthquake that straight up split California in half, then we'd be fucking hearing about it. National news. Everybody would hear about that shit because that's something like ginormous. It's just the degree of how crazy it is.
I guess, yeah, it just has to depend on how terrific it is.
How terrific it is. Because like in reality, we like hearing about shit like that. But like we gotten used to it to like, oh, another shooting, whatever. Or oh, another accident, fuck people did whatever. We're so used to like that basic shit that now we've moved up to like now we only want to hear about some fucked up shit when it happens.
Yeah,
like,
and that's how kind of fucked up it is too. It's like, oh, 15 killed, and then like, oh, really? Last week there was 17, so that's not even a big deal.
It's not a big deal, yeah.
But then they're like, oh, 20 killed, and they're like, oh shit, 20. Oh, let's make a riled up, and then every time somebody less than 20 is killed, it's not that big of a deal.
Like 20 nowadays ain't shit. Like it's a
15 killed, blah, who cares?
Oh, 15. I mean, actually, one life is enough, I guess. But like, imagine that shit's crazy. Like when that dude went into Walmart in El Paso, and shot motherfuckers. How many
conspiracy,
people?
Dog?
Man,
government brought him in to do it, trying to take everyone's guns.
Do you think they're just paying people to do some fucked up shit?
No, not all.
Just
the time.
So that we can take away from it. Because there's other conspiracy, right? The government is actually trying to work towards a way to take away all our rights and freedoms and just completely make us into a fucking like one of those states that are just controlled by the government, like a really sick way.
Yeah.
And slowly, of course, the only way that things change is when something fucked up happens, right? Like
Corona?
Like Corona, how like coronavirus is one of, you can compare that. Or you can compare like
9/11.
9/11.
That's what they say. Like when 9/11 happened, they passed a bunch of things like the Patriot Act and shit like that.
They might do shit like that so they can do things like that, right?
And then after, so 5 years later,
they use people's fears.
They're just like, oh, well, unfortunately, the Patriot Act's still there, so whatever. So now they can wiretap, and now they can surveil your phones, all because we were scared when they attacked.
Yeah.
We were freaking out, but then we're like, hey, do you guys really can spy on us? And they're like, yeah, you guys signed away, Patriot Act. I hope you guys know that.
Yep.
And this is kind of the same aspect here. If like certain shit goes by, we're like, oh, well, guess what? The social distancing rule kind of is like a thing forever now.
The thing is, oh, it's like making people want to change the way they live, and it's making people want to do things differently because we've been hit by something so horrific that it fucking makes us realize that we're not ready for certain things if it happens. So that makes people want to change their lifestyles to better ourselves, which is good. Maybe that's the good that comes out of it. It forces us to like see things like the positive thing that happened from this whole virus thing is all these factories shut down. And I heard this shit, and I always question everything that I get.
Yeah.
I never know if it's factual or not, but I hear these things and I read it from YouTube's. But they said that since the factories have shut down and there's less emission there because there's no factories open in a lot of places, that the Earth is actually EO2 or the CO2 amounts and shit like that went down. Our emissions level went down on the planet. It got a little bit cooler or something like that. And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy, just because they shut down a shitload of factories and stuff like that and stopped from all the pollution for like a couple of weeks. I'm like, that's pretty good. Like, if you learn that that's what it takes, that's all it can take sometimes.
Well, you even know how more fucked up it is? I heard that there was animals in the zoo that never had sex with each other because, you know, people were always there every day watching them.
How the fuck are they gonna fuck, man? Like,
like, literally, yeah. They're just like, hey, what's going What are you guys doing in there?
Click, click,
so
flash,
they never
flash.
had sex, but now that this whole thing has happened and zoos have been closed, dude, they're fucking getting it on, dude.
They're fucking for real.
Getting it on, dude.
Yes.
So that's crazy to think about too.
Honestly, we're pieces of shit for a lot of things, bro. We're such a piece of shit species. We think we're great because we're doing good things.
But fuck no,
we're really doing good things for ourselves at the expense of everything else. And honestly, I think as humans are pretty shitty.
Like what's going on?
Like, yeah, we can try, well, we made this and we've changed lives. We've saved people. We've saved species. I'm like, man, we're fucking a disease at the end of the day.
We created plastic. We can't even get rid of it.
Nah, plastic is fine. Plastic is not going to do anything to the environment because at the end of the day, the planet's going to be fine. It's us as a human species and the animals and everything living around us that's going to fucking suffer from the consequence. Eventually, the planet is going to get rid of us, and then it's going to go through its healing process, and then the air is going to be good again. The oceans are going to be great again. And then the new species are going to arise, and we're going to be gone. Think of all the old species that have come and go. Like, you really think we're just smart enough to invent technology? Something had to help us out, right? Something had to help us out, because how come no other animal species or living species of animal in this thing is intelligent to the point like we are, where we can create things, we can make things, we can forge things, we can... Bro, the fact we have TVs, microphones, and shit, doesn't that ever just blow your mind?
Because that again, I'm pretty sure we talked about this before, but we were like this before, but we got wiped out by some kind of global cataclysm. We had to start over.
Yeah, start over.
We've started over more than a few times.
So we've been around more times, but
yeah, like literally to the point of massive, where we've built pyramids.
Like, you mean like there was a fucking, like, Halo was a good way. Like, you mean like on Halo how we used to have like the living species of forerunners and humanity and shit like that, and they had to wipe out all of the living species to kick the flood, and then they restarted humanity.
Yeah,
again.
kind of. You can.
But
they
like died out, so all their technology just got left for us to discover once we got advanced enough to be able to explore and understand things.
Yeah,
like you think there was species of human, because there was evidence.
That's literally the pyramids right now.
Right. That's what one theory is. The pyramids were like one of those things, and they said they've even found ancient batteries or like an ancient battery, and I'm like, well, they could have been a different it could have been humans before us, right? They got wiped out, like you said, by some cataclysmic event, some big major thing. They wiped out basically all of its existence, some of it,
yeah.
And then life had to restart again, and then we got here again. Maybe that could be a possibility, and that'd be wild as fuck. Because imagine that shit.
Like, I believe in that.
I could believe in that too. I could believe that there's probably species of humans that used to be here, and they're like got wiped out, but they left behind a lot of shit that we discovered later and then studied, and then we're like, oh shit. Because you know what's trippy is like there's these like vibrational pattern things that I learned. It was like the Fibonacci number sequence, and they get it's like frequencies. They get this plate and they put this thing that makes it like vibrate to a certain frequency, and they would put sand on it, and when they would make this frequency to a certain, it would make a pattern. Like, you put sand on a table, right? Say you had a glass table, you hook these things up, you put the glass, and you set the frequency on the machine to make it vibrate to that frequency. Naturally, it's going to make a certain geometric pattern. Like, it's crazy. I'll show you when this shit's over. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Like a bunch of circles.
Like a bunch of circles, each frequency had its own shape. And they're talking about, like, it was a series of numbers, and it was related to Fibonacci, but it was like crazy because it was frequencies, and they said that the pyramids have this thing it's like a perfect geometric pattern to be able to pick up those frequencies or do something to it. Somebody discovered it this way in one of the pyramids. I'm like, if the pyramids had some ancient shit that mathematicians discovered, like, you know, it's some hardcore shit. Like, imagine, like there had to be something before us that just had shit figured out.
I believe it, man. Like you hear those stories and stuff, like Atlantis, dude.
Like Atlantis, that's a crazy one.
That blows me away, dude.
That blows me the fuck away. Yeah,
and that's not even really going into like hypothetical, like, oh, aliens, blah blah blah. That was like, you know, a past idea from Plato and them. Plato and them were like, oh yeah, there was a lost civilization.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? This shit that from back in the day, we still talk about today.
Yeah.
And like the theory Atlantis was one of them too. And there's a bunch of shit, like that's what trips me out about religions and or just like stories like that. Like, man, these really go far back. Like,
yeah, stories like that blow me away.
Do you ever just think that some of these stories were just stories, but they got like mixed up a long time, like to a point where people knew back in the day when they first heard about these accounts as a story? Like, imagine somebody like picking up a movie or something generations later and it gets turned into a religion, and then people truly believe that these events and this thing happened. Like, do you ever think that maybe the Bible and all religions were just stories that were really good stories back in the day that made it through the test of times like a motherfucker? Religions were formed around them.
Probably. I mean, some of the best morals and values that we have are from the stories.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you have a fucking like a story that just happens to have all the lessons that humans need to learn to live their way of life, to be, you know, living a good life or whatever they say is a good life.
I don't know. It's weird to think about.
Because it's like a set of morals and like codes and shit like that to go by.
Because the story of Moses and the ark and fucking the flood and stuff. That's not the only version. A bunch of other people have the exact same thing, just in different tales, a different person.
Somebody made a point. It was just like, it's like we're all reading the same message, but interpreting it in a different way.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I think that all religions are actually just based off of one religion, but each culture interprets it in their way.
In a different way.
A different way. You wonder why that happens. Like, why do some religions, like these things, like, and like, what is it? Is it Hinduism that you can't, I think it's Hinduism that you can't eat cows or pork?
Might be pork.
I know Hinduism is like you can't eat beef. Because I think they think cows are sacred.
Yeah.
So they don't eat cows like we do.
And there's other religions that don't eat the pig because they just think it's a foul creature.
I think Jewish people, like, Jewish is a religion. Is Jewish a religion or a fucking clown? I always get like, Judaism is a religion, obviously, right?
Yeah, but I guess you could say it's a race as well.
Well, because when Hitler rounded all the Jews and was killing them off, I was like, well, how can you tell somebody's a Jew? Like, what if there's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jew? Like, you know? Like, Jews not... Is it considered a race or is it considered... It's obviously a religion, of course, because of Judaism, but it's like...
Yeah, it's a religious person, I guess.
It's a religion, but... Like I'm saying, like things like they're the ones that can't eat pork, anyways. They're the ones that can't eat pork. They'll go to hell. So there's certain religions.
I can't remember, but there's this guy at my work that doesn't eat pork as well, and he's a black guy, like a.
Well, it's a lot of Muslim.
Muslim
people, because I know a lot of brothers that won't eat fucking pork, man. They won't eat that.
Yeah,
shit.
but they don't eat it because they say the pig is a disgusting animal, not because it's a sacred animal.
No, it's because it's disgusting. Yeah, because it's a disgusting animal, and you taking that into your body is bad for your body.
Yeah,
like
but there are the other religions where they're like, we won't eat cow because cow is a sacred animal.
Yeah, everybody has their own different like views on certain things. That's why it's kind of hard for me to really get into religion, because obviously I was born here, born in a Mexican family, so of course Catholic and Christian was like the things that I went through before I decided I'm not religious and I don't believe in God.
And learning about different religions fucked me up too, because then you're just like, oh, what, really? Like, why is there such thing as a Mormon? Like, what is a Mormon?
There's all different types of subclass. Like, there's like Christian, there's just like Mormons, which I don't know if that's part of Christianity or some different shit. And there's just like, what is it, Jehovah's Witnesses and shit like that, who believe that there's only a certain amount of people that get into heaven. And I'm pretty sure you're not part of the list. So it's just like, you know, if only a certain number, it's just like, so there's just a lot of shit and problems in religion. And I just understand why it's there for certain people. And I think that's what I make out of it. To me, it's like, I know why religion's here. I know why we have it for certain reasons. Some people need it, like I said, for coping mechanisms. Some people need it because they can't decide themselves what is wrong and right. So they need a set of guides and rules to keep them like, okay, this is what I can't do. Because you ever meet religious motherfuckers? They act like they're really religious. They got religious, got cross tattoos and verses and shit like that. But they be doing like shady shit all the time. But somehow they're still religious. And they think like, yo, you doing all this shady shit and you religious. You say you're a man of God or whatever. But you doing all this shady shit.
Yeah, and then that's kind of crazy too because that's always kind of like an excuse to bring back at it is like, well, you know, he would forgive me or it would be forgiven if I did something bad or something. But is that really how it works? Is that really how like
we commercialized it?
Especially like, with karma, right? Isn't that another kind of like
religion
substance?
is like just another form of bullshit and like to me commercialism. Like you just it's like so true. Like it's easy. Like you go to church, you pray. God is all forgiving is good. He understands it. You're not perfect.
Right, yeah.
But if you have that in your mind and you think like, and you're trying to like manipulate it, like I'm going to do all the shitty things, but go to church on Sunday and pray and then get forgiveness and I'm good. And then I'm going to go back and be a shitty person. They say it doesn't work that way. Real religious people say, oh, it doesn't work that way. They might still go. Like you said, no matter what you do, as long as you believe in Jesus and Christ and the love of God, then you're going to go to heaven. So if I go and I murder my mom, but I believe in Jesus and I love Jesus deep in my heart, I'm still going to go to heaven, even though I just murdered my fucking mom. Like,
amen, brother.
So I just have a problem. Like I know why it's there for certain people, and I don't even try to argue with people about it anymore because I'm like, you know what? If you want to believe in whatever you want to believe in, that's good. Do it. That's your shit. I'm not gonna try to convince you. If you ask me why I view things the way I do, then I'll let you know. But I'm not gonna try to convince you to do things like.
And you shouldn't do that to me either. Like, don't try to make me feel like a shit because I don't want to be like, oh, well, you're gonna go to hell or blah blah blah. Yeah. It's like, do you even know the concept of that shit?
But some people are just like stupid about it. There's like people that know how it's really supposed to be done, and there's people that are just like, mom, like I believe in God, Jesus Christ, but I'm gonna do these shitty things. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you're fuck. Some people really just use it as like, they just take advantage of the idea. They're afraid of death. They're afraid that when they die, they're gonna go to hell, or there's gonna be nothing. So they want to have some security when they die, so they can live their life a little bit more peacefully, knowing that there might be something for you after. So I'm like, some people take advantage of that idea, and they're like, oh, if that happens, as long as I believe in God and I do this, then I'm gonna just be a shitty person.
Yeah, I can do whatever. And look at how it ends up, right? A bunch of Catholic priests and stuff molest kids.
Little kids, damn, fucking.
So like
Christian fucking pastors just milking people for money and buying like fancy cars, big ass houses, and all this shit like
navigators. Gators on my feet. I got navigators on my feet.
Damn, well, like, why do you need all this shit if you're a man of God? Wouldn't you want to like spread the word? Like, that's another thing that I fucking can't stand. I got laughed when that dude got fucking arrowed to death. Did you ever hear about the dude who went to this like island where there's this indigenous people?
Oh yeah.
And he tried to like
just
bring the word of God, and they just fucking arrowed his ass to death. As soon as he got on the beach and he was on there, they were just like thwap, 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 thwap. They just lit him up, just killed him, bro. Wow, it was some like weird ass like.
Yeah, some indigenous tribe.
It was crazy. They was wearing shit all weird and shit like that. You know, the tribal. And they just fucking arrowed him to death. I'm like, that's what you get? Like, you really think a group of indigenous people who don't speak fucking English, don't know fucking shit about the outside world, and you come over here, you know, and I've heard that they've been fucked with before, and a lot of them died because of a disease that somebody brought that was already used to it, and they weren't used to that kind of shit, so they died off. So they were really, after that, they were really against having people on the island.
Oh, okay.
So anytime anybody tried to show up, they would just arrow them, shit, and shit like that. Like, that's crazy.
That makes sense.
So why the fuck do you think God is like, oh, I'm gonna go, I got you, God. I'm gonna go to this island where they don't speak a fucking lick of English because it's an indigenous tribe. You really think they're gonna understand the concept? Do you really think they're intelligent enough to understand the concept of like God and Jesus and what you're telling them? Like
that's such a bad way to initiate yourself too. You would think it'd be like more like humbling, like, hey guys, I got food, I got stuff you need, not like,
nah, they're indigenous. They
don't know. Yeah,
they've been there for They're indigenous tribe. They've been there for generations, and they're still alive. I think they're doing fairly good for themselves.
Like, I'm good.
It's just our fucking what is it? Our self-righteousness that we're like,
manifest destiny
bullshit. Like, I got you, God. You want me to go to this island so I can spread the word of God. I got you, and then blah, you died. Like, no, you stupid. But like, why would you like? Like, leave motherfuckers alone.
I don't know. It's weird.
They don't need our help. Like, you want to believe they need our help because, like, they're old school. They're indigenous. They don't have the shit. But they're already okay with that shit. They don't know about the world. Like, they don't... Like, you know... Like, if you're fucking... Like, poor, right? Being poor is almost like a state of mind to me. I really think about it as a state of mind. Because if you didn't really know about certain shit, then you wouldn't feel like...
You need it.
You need it, right?
Or you
like,
want it. Or
you live a
like
certain
that.
way, and that's all you know, right? Like the indigenous people, they live their way, they life the way they do. Or Amish people would be another good one. Amish people live, and some of them know about the outside world and what happens, but some of them don't because they were born and raised in the Amish, and that's what they're gonna probably die, and that's what they're super already comfortable and accustomed to. So to them, they're just fine with it. And it's only when you introduce something to somebody and it make them feel like you're better or they're better, you're better than them because you have these things that it's like that idea that people get put in their head, like, you know, like if you don't know about something, like people without like certain, I don't know.
I get it. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Because if it's not introduced to you, then what is the purpose of needing it or wanting it?
You wouldn't feel that like pain, like when poor people who are just struggling see a rich motherfucker living their life and they're like, oh man, I ain't shit because I'm not like that, and I feel sad because I don't have these things, I don't have this new car, all these bitches, all this gold and all this other shit. And you only feel that way because we're see it and we're introduced and we're made to believe that that is a measurement of success. If you don't have that, then we ain't shit.
Yeah.
So naturally you think socially, I want to be like that. And you feel like that poor state of mind. You feel like, I wish I could have opportunity. Indigenous people on an island, that's that's been their whole shit, their whole generation. They don't have
it's
anything
not
else
like they're
that.
trying to invent
It's not like
things.
indigenous people like, I wish I had Bluetooth. I wish I had the Wi-Fi. Indigenous people don't give a fuck because that's all they know. And they're probably happy. They're okay with what they got because that's, you know. At the end of the day, that's why the people who would probably suffer the most if we had some global catastrophe happen that just sent us back into the Stone Age, it'd be the fucking richer people that would be suffering. It'd be the more like poor people would probably be all right. Really dirt poor people probably would be all right if we went back to the Stone Age.
They can survive off of something.
They can survive with so little and probably know how to do some nasty shit to survive. Maybe, you know. But it's like rich people and people like that who are sensitive. Like, I gotta have my food a certain way. I can't eat cold or warm food. It has to be hot. It has to be made a certain way. I can't wear those clothes because it's not made from this fabric. Those are the motherfuckers that shit goes to Stone Age. They probably gonna not last as long. They're gonna probably die. So.
And then there's the upper class that already have like bunkers and shit.
Bunkers, that shit will only last so long before you're out.
They're gonna hire us as slaves. They'll be like, yeah, you guys can come into the bunker.
Really? But how long will it last? Like, how long will that really last in this?
Then they're gonna have robots, and then we're all gonna die.
Nah, if it was robots, then we're just fucked. If robots took over and we didn't have any way, if we just made them way too advanced,
they're gonna be advanced.
Then we're fucked. I mean, like, shit that sends us to the Stone Age. Not like something that happens where rich people can maintain a certain amount of power. Like, only people that have a bunch of shit might be able to maintain. Like, people who have canned food, people that own factories like that. In an apocalyptic world, but shit just goes back to the Stone Ages, and we revert back to having to restart again.
The poor people would do more.
Poor people probably do a little bit better. The intelligent people that know how to do, like, classical shit, like people that know how to make, like you know, the Amish people?
Carpentry, shit like
Amish
that.
people that actually still practice old school methods of shit, like foraging and shit like that.
Farming,
those people will probably be all right. To an extent, but then there's other things that come from other places. So then we're just gonna depend back to our own, like, area of, like, you know, like we have technology like boats, planes, and shit that can deliver us goods from other countries, vegetables, crops, soils, things like that. But when we lose that ability, and you're dependent only in your region, whatever you have in your region, like if you only grow rice and certain vegetables and where you're living at in the Stone Age, that's all you was gonna get, motherfucker. If you live in a field where all you grew was potatoes and apples and all that shit, that's all you eat. And then, like, back in the day, because you didn't have technology to have shit like that. Technology gives us such a big advantage to have shit and have luxuries. We have so many fucking luxuries. Like, you ever think about, like, if we just went back to the Stone Age, all the technologies became useless?
Oh, yeah, dude, everything.
Everything, like...
Even basic things, you'd be like, fuck,
things.
Microwaves. Fuck
things you
coffee
take for
makers,
granted, gas stoves, dryers, washers, all that basic everyday shit you take for granted out of the equation, you're gonna fucking be like, what the fuck?
What do I do, right?
What do I do? Like, dead. Those motherfuckers dead. Dead. I probably died too, like... I like to believe that I do all right, but I'm like middle class, so it's just like I've been dirt poor. But if things went to the Stone Age, I probably would die at a point. I'd probably be like, "Fuck,
I don't want to do this."
I don't want to fucking do this."
Berlin, we're talking about what happens if, you know, a post-apocalyptic war happens and you have to survive for yourself. Would you survive? I know I wouldn't.
I say if we got shot back to the Stone Age, it wouldn't have to be something like a war happened. Just something that
war is what's gonna happen.
If it was war, like they'd probably be
nukes going off.
They'd be like Fallout.
We're stuck.
It would be just dead. Eventually, we'd just die off.
Some people will survive.
Because there's events, right? we could probably come back from through time, and there's events that eventually time will just take us out. Like Fallout situation, we would be done after a while. We'll die. Like the Fallout games, like how that's a fantasy. Like that shit really happened. We
radiation zones and shit like that.
Like the whole world is just like that. Then we're fucked. We're fucked because we literally polluted the whole planet. We're gonna slowly lose all our resources until we just die. And then once we die, then through time, the planet's gonna heal itself, and then blam, new species, and we'll be long gone. That's why I'm like, we really shouldn't flex with nukes. Like nukes, we really shouldn't have them. We really shouldn't be fucking with nukes.
Yeah, I think that's pretty crazy too.
Like to have that ability to fuck up an environment in an area to that level of devastation, and even worse, like we have nukes now that we could just destroy our own fucking planet with. I'm like, do we really need that kind of shit? Like. Where's our egos with war and all this shit that we feel like, fuck it, let's just take it. That's like such selfish thing to do. Is for us just to kill each other off. And like, why can't we be better than that? Like, we have nukes and we're still fucking with war. We're still fucking with different things. Like, we're slowly making a progression.
Dude, we had to even come up with like different terms when we did that. Like, once we came up with the nuke and we killed over 500 people at one time, you know what that's called?
It's like genocide, right?
It's called a megadeath.
A megadeath?
Yeah.
Damn.
That's where that band got the name.
Megadeath, that's why they have the fucking symbol.
It's beautiful, dude. I was like, God damn it. When I found that out, it was beautiful. It's like the government considers it a megadeath if over 500 people get killed at one time.
Damn, from one
thing.
One instrument of death.
Boom. Guess what? That megadeath just happened and blah, blah, blah.
See, that's crazy that we do shit like that. Like, we're fucked up.
Yeah, that we actually have a terminology for that kind of death.
That we do that kind of shit to each other just shows you that we're really not that fucking bright. Because if we were really so fucking bright and smart, we probably would not have countries. We probably would just be one giant, well, of course we'd have different areas and countries. But we would finally be united as one whole, as a human society, as a planet. We would finally be linked together. There'd be no stupid war between different sides of the world. It would just be us all working together to try to see what else we can do and see how far we can get. You ever just think it's like humanity and our like chance is really a gamble to see how far we can go.
It is. Like right now, the only thing I'm waiting for is China versus America. That's like the next biggest war.
That's going to be bloody.
That's literally who's going to be the superpower. Who is the superpower right now?
But the thing is, like, sometimes it doesn't matter if you have the bigger army. It's just based off of chance and what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There've been like stories, I can't recount, but I know that somebody said it, like, oh, there's been situations where like a country was really
I know there was this one where like Germany tried to invade Russia, but it was because of like a snowy day or whatever, and the way that they're like.
No, because I like World War II. I'm a big World War II buff. So what it was because the beginning of World War II, before Germany was going to invade Poland, they knew that they wouldn't be able to like. Because Germany, where it was at during World War II, they had like Europe and shit that would come down from one side, and they also had the other side that had Russia and other countries. So if like Germany tried to invade Poland in the beginning of the war, they would set the war. Then they would have to fight two different countries from two different fronts, right? So it would be difficult. So they patented with Russia, told, yo, Russia, help us get our backs in case they try to jump us from the different side. And when this war thing breaks down, we'll break you off some land, or you can have whatever land you want to claim and shit like that. So they made some kind of deal like that. And that's what was it? Fucking Poland. We invaded Poland. What the fuck were we talking about? My brain just.
When the fucking something. I'm pretty sure it was troops that went into Russia, but Russia blocked them off.
Oh, okay. Why?
Troops.
Okay, honestly, think that if because it was a battle. Because the beginning of the war, Germany and Russia were allies. We had each other's back, but Germany was low key gonna fucking betray Germany, or not betray Germany, betray Russia. So once they got to a point and Hitler got strong enough, that okay, now we're gonna flip the ties. We fucked up Europe and we took over France. We have them. Now we're gonna take over Russia. We're gonna decide to flip on them, betray them, and try to take them up. But because Russia has some of the coldest fucking winters, their soldiers were kind of used to it. But Germany's soldiers were, and Hitler was kind of like he was too like go like he was like, we'll get this shit, like we need, it's winter, shouldn't we dig in and get clothes and change our uniforms? To be like, no, we'll do this, we'll have this finished before the fucking winter kicks in. Didn't have it finished before the winter kicked in. Winter kicked in, so it was one of the coldest winters they had. And it was like, I think the siege of Stalingrad, where they took over. Like, it was just this big fight. And that's where Germany actually lost most of its numbers and like army and soldiers, was from the fight in Russia, because that was one of the pretty bloody fight. And that fight alone brought down Germany's numbers and Russia's numbers. They lost more people, I think, than any other country did in the world because they had so many soldiers die in German soldiers. So many German soldiers died in fucking Russia that it was a little bit easier for America after a while because their armies after that got kind of weakened and less people.
Yeah.
And then Hitler started making bad moves and just getting way too proud and way too like egotistical and making bad decisions. So then now he's making all these fucked up moves. The soldiers are dying. And America has a little bit easier because they lost a lot of their soldiers and most of their men in Russia. And so did Russia. Russia lost a lot of their men in fucking with the Germans.
Yeah.
So they were pretty fucked up too. And it was a little bit easier. I think that if Germany never tried to invade Russia, then Germany might have honestly won the fucking war.
They might have done some more damage.
They might have until the nuke got invented. Once the nuke came into play, then it might have been different. But I honestly believe that if Germany didn't go fight Russia and they didn't lose as much as their soldiers they did in Russia, then they would have probably might have won the war, or gotten closer and closer to it until America finally was like nuke Japan. Because we had a plan to nuke Germany. If Germany didn't stand down and finally give up, we were gonna nuke Germany too. Like Japan was the first motherfuckers to get hit because we didn't want to lose because they were gonna invade. We got to the point where we finally won the like sea battles because their navy was pretty dope.
Yeah,
Japan's navy was like almost as good as like America's navy. They're like neck and neck. So we finally won the whole fuck. I think the Battle of Dunkirk was the one that like changed the ties for like the navy and shit like that against Japan. So now we took care of most of their lands. We got the sea in control now. Now Japan just has their homeland, and we were gonna invade Japan's homeland. But if we did, they had their civilians even trained to fight against the U.S. soldiers. So it was they would have probably won, but it would have been a bloody, bloody battle on both sides. It would have been a lot of Japanese casualties, a lot of American casualties lost. And they didn't want to send that many soldiers to get killed. They didn't want to keep sending people because they're already like, oh, this shit has lasted long enough. We can't keep sending motherfuckers. And then the nuke came along. And like, okay, we're going to use this nuke, and now we're going to drop it. Dropped it, Nagasaki, Hiroshima, boom.
Everyone freaked out.
Japan was like, holy shit. By that time, Germany already surrendered. Germany already surrendered, and they were already done before Japan finally did, after we nuked them. But if Germany never surrendered and they never fought Russia, and they still had them,
something might have happened.
Like, they probably would have got nuked too if they didn't lose. Like, if America didn't get overrun by the time that shit was over, by the time the nuke was finally made, then maybe. But the battle against Russia is what really weakened Germany's army. So if they didn't have that fight, they might have won, or they might have gotten nuked too. Germany might have gotten nuked as well. Because once America got the nuke and they made that shit, it was over. Like, bro, it was over, bro. None of the world in the world at that time knew what the fuck a nuke was. They didn't think it was possible to cause that much damage.
But there it was, boom.
Boom.
Destroyed.
Oh, it is scary, the potential that the power of the nuke has. And, like, there's so much stronger nukes now. There's nukes, hydrogen bombs. They could just wipe out a whole fucking country, bro. Like, what the fuck?
It's ridiculous. Today's history lesson was brought to you by Skillshare. Thank you, Irvin. That's a good little thing. Yeah, dude, fucking history's amazing, dude. It has so many different twists and turns. Especially I started to learn about like Indian culture and stuff, like the way like the Pueblo Revolt and the way the Navajos had to actually do a huge long ass walk to a certain part of their land and shit, and they were just like,
what was the March of, what was it? I've heard about
the Trail of Tears.
The Trail of Tears?
Yeah.
Because fucking homegirl was telling me, like, yeah, they've been trying to, like, one of my native homegirls was like, they've been trying to kill us with fucking smallpox, long ass walks. And I was like, long ass walks?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's right.
That's crazy. That's a bunch of crazy ass history.
History's fucked up. Like, when we hear of all the fucked up shit that we've done, do you think, like, and people be like, you know what makes me laugh is when people say, I don't want to have kids because this world is so much more fucked up. I'm like, no, the world has been probably more fucked up back then, but they didn't have technology to really show it as much. Like, we have social media now, so we can see somebody making a bad decision in a different country because of social media. Somebody can go live in a different country and do some stupid shit, and everybody in the country sees it. So we see more of it. But I honestly think the world was more fucked up back in the day.
That makes sense. They say that people that say that the time was better back then don't understand the time that it is now.
Depends what you might be thinking about. Like, if you were,
I honestly still think this is probably the best time we've ever lived.
This is one of the best times. Like, we're definitely living. Our generation, from a certain point, is enjoying the luxuries of technology and things in modernization. Like, we're really comfy and we really get to enjoy a lot of shit in a different way. Like, we make sushi donuts, video games, pornography, all
Right.
types of dope shit, cars,
Frozen ice
skateboards,
cream.
fucking frozen ice cream, all the dope shit that we have. All the dope shit that we have, and the technology just keeps getting better. There's keeps more cool shit keeps coming out. Like, you ever think it's gonna get to a point where something happens and that just all gets fucking erased?
Yeah, it's called the robot takeover.
Nah, robot takeover would just be now it's a new fucking Terminator style.
No, I don't know. It just depends on what happens. But
I just chance we're like, in reality, to me, the way I see it, if the universe really exists, and like, because there's those people that don't think space exists, don't think the galaxy exists, thinks we're in some kind of simulation or some kind of controlled environment. But I'm like, if it's not that, if we really just space is and we're just here by chance and everything is just because we got lucky. Like, if you think about it, in science, the way they say it is like, even the way we exist in this planet, our solar system has to be built a certain way for us to actually be able to survive and be able to have the ability to have this environment. Like, things had to be a place, certain things, like, you know, how all the planets orbit around the sun. Like, our condition is just perfect enough. Our planet is just in the perfect spot, in the perfect condition for us to have what we have now.
Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, we're in the perfect spot to have this ability to have all these things. And then we got smart enough to get the fuck out and explore shit. So at any point, a ginormous meteor that's out of our control could just come zooming in our solar system and just be like, and just take us out. Like, something so massive, because the universe is so big. There's
Not even that, dude. It doesn't even have to be a fucking meteor.
It could just be a fucking
volcano.
A volcano on Earth. It just completely, like the Yellowstone erupting and fucking up most of the planet. Like, we're fucked, bro. Like, humanity's fucked. Like, that shit would suck, bro. But we live in a perfect condition. And we're just here. Sometimes I think we're really just here by chance, man. And it's
we're just waiting too.
It's just a big game and a big gamble of let's see how far our species can make it. Let's see how far humans can make it with what we have. Let's see how far we can go.
Again, because we've done this before. Because we've fucking lived this life hundreds of times.
That's another crazy theory. There's too many crazy fucking theories about existence. But yeah, that's one thing. Like, what if we, like, man, you ever think that our human Earth civilization gets to the point where we'll actually be able to just casually go to space?
I think that'd be pretty. I think so.
Like, imagine, like, you know, like if you wanted to go to space, like if me and you wanted to go to space,
it just costs like
what could we do?
$75.
$75 to go to space. Bullshit. No,
that's what the future's gonna be.
That's what the future might be like. It might even be cheaper than that. It'd be like $5. You can go to space, take the space trip.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, you live in America, but you work in France. Take the space instead of a subway. It's a spaceway.
Yeah, right.
You take a platform that takes you into space,
it's like,
and then it's just like
sickle rainbow shot
that, like, just like a space station train that takes you to a different country in like a matter of fucking minutes. Like, we don't have that technology yet. I mean, we have it, but it's like for rich motherfuckers, not rich motherfuckers. It's not even rich motherfuckers. Like, I mean, if you're rich, you can pay to have a shuttle take you. Because remember, have you ever seen that episode of Jackass? I don't know if it was Jackass or Wild Boys. I think it might be Jackass, where they do like, they get on like one of those a spaceship, like, what is it? The ones that you see, the really common ones, the ones that like have wheels on them, they can just kind of like take off like a plane and they just go out, and they can go so far up into the atmosphere, they can go actually going out of space, and then they can go back into Earth.
It's kind of like a plane, right?
Yeah, it looks like a plane. And like in Jackass, I think they had a skate where they went on one and they were just like doing shit in zero gravity.
Okay.
Because I think they flew enough out of the atmosphere to be in zero gravity, which I don't know how far it is that you have to go before you start experiencing zero gravity. But I was just like, whoa. And they did some shit like that. I'm like, man, they probably had to pay so much fucking money to just have that spaceship trip, to pay for the fuel, to pay for the astronauts, to take time out of their day to fly a bunch of dumbasses
right
to fucking space so they can do some jackass stunts. Like that shit's crazy. Like, we have the ability to an extent, but you probably have to have money to pay for something like that.
Yeah, especially now they're like trying to invent where space travel is like a destination thing.
Like a destination thing you can do.
Just like, hey, just go fly up to the surface, look around for a while, and come back down.
Imagine the trial and errors that's gonna happen. Well, that shit. So like, remember when planes were being built?
Bunch of monkeys are gonna die.
Oh no, not even monkeys, bro. Like, remember when they first made it? Start, like, not remember, but like when they first started making airplanes, right?
Yeah, dude, I was there for Wright Brothers. Right. I was there with the Wright Brothers when they first got going.
Word. But I'm saying, like to think about that time, right, when airplanes were first invented, or when that concept came first to be, there was a lot of trial and errors of people dying from trying things and trying to discover how it needs to work or what the science behind it was. So space travel, of course, we do have that science and we have it figured out, but for it to be in the common control of a common person, and shit like that. Like the early stages of that shit might not work out as well. Like imagine we finally have space travel where motherfuckers can just find a space and like take a trip.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, and then the early, like when cars first got invented, like through time, cars get better. The safety, the safety measures in cars get better through the years, supposedly, right?
Yeah.
The safety technology.
Yeah, like look at my fucking any car. Like seatbelts lights come on.
Like
for
there was
seatbelts.
Chevy, like there was like Chevy cars from back in the day, right? The e-brake was put in a fucking weird way, so if like you got a wreck, your kneecap would just get ripped off. And I was like, "Ow, your kneecap would get ripped off." That's some early shit. And then they finally realized, oh, we probably shouldn't put the e-brake in front of the kneecap. Let's move it to the side.
Yeah, right. Another foot pedal.
A foot pedal, right? Like, okay. Well, I guess, I don't know. Or just thought it was a regular brake or emergency, but early cars had the emergency brake.
Because it was like a foot pedal you push down, but you had to unlock it with like that thing. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. You push it down and then you would unlock it. That's right.
Yeah.
But that shit was in front of your knee.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you ran into something and wrecked in it, it would just be like, brah.
So it's so weird because if you had, like, I used to have a truck, a Ford F-150 from 1989.
Yeah.
And it was the fucking gas, the brake, the clutch, and then the brake pedal, the emergency brake pedal. So that was weird to always think about. There was 4 pedals on there.
4 pedals on that shit. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, shit was complicated. So imagine the early, like when technology gets to the point where they finally, like, now we can release space travel tech. They make space traffic. Like, now space traffic is a real thing. Like, now they have, like, red lights and green lights in space where humans will go. Imagine the early trials of that shit. Like, how many people will probably die?
Or there won't even be anything.
Like, imagine like
open roads
in space, but then all of a sudden a little meteor comes in and just goes through your dome. Because you've seen Gravity, like how like they had the meteors, like the shit that keeps rotating around Earth eventually keeps increasing its speed and getting faster, and it becomes basically like a fucking bullet in space. Just goes right through it, like metal. So imagine being in space, right? You're just cruising, and this little meteor just going way too fast, just goes through your head, and now you're just dead, and now you drift off into space.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. You just gone. Like space, like that's the scary thing about space is like, man, if you're an astronaut in space and then just something hits you and then just the momentum and you just drift off into space and you're not securely, then you're fucked. Like imagine drifting off into space accidentally.
Right.
You know how scary that would be?
Because you've seen those videos of those people working outside of the space station. Like, yeah,
and then something kind of fucks them up, and they're like, "Oh!" But they're linked to something. Yeah, they keep like, "Oh, okay." And they just pull themselves back.
But there's that scenario.
But there's a scenario where you're not. You fly away, bro. Float away into space. That'd be so fucking scary, bro. Fuck that. Like, that's gonna be the early trials of space travel when it becomes more common for the more common people.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like space buses are gonna accidentally fuck up because something in the technology.
Some old dude. Hey, close the door.
No, it's not even that. It'd be like the technology. Right,
you're cool. It's still going, but
the technology, right, will be like, because like when cars were being made, right, they understood that we made something. We made a car. We made a vehicle. It moves, but we still don't fully understand the consequences of it or how it works. Really, like
yeah.
Like now we have scientists. They have aerodynamics on cars. They can test the MPHs. They can test all this shit, but there had to be technology to be able to measure those things.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So like as we
even the balance of
wheels, right, like. Shit was probably the cars were probably like bouncy and fucked up like fuck.
Constantly having
no
to turn
power
left.
steering, no power steering. So you're like, because you ever drove a car with no power steering,
dude? Yeah,
that shit is like fucking rough. And back in the day, shit was rough. So I gotta think the early stages of like space travel are probably gonna fuck up because we're gonna get to a point where okay, we've mastered it enough to be able to have it in space and have it for common people. We don't still fully understand it, and then all of a sudden the action happens because like, oh, well, we find out this happens because this. Now we have to change things up so it's more safer, so it doesn't have this problem.
Right. They're like, oh, obviously if you end up going too fast or something, or oh, you need 3 seatbelts instead of just one.
Just one. Like, what the fuck?
A bunch of different scenarios.
Bunch of shit. Like, it's going to be brutal, bro. It's going to be brutal. That's why it's just like, every time there's a trial and error for something new, they always have to have that stage where people are going to probably die. They don't need to, but they probably try to avoid it. But there's going to be people that are naturally going to die.
Or space. You think they'll send up, like, test dummies, and then they take that footage, and they're like, oh, well, this dummy hit his head on the fucking side of the road.
We'll probably have it, with what we know and what we have now, we'll probably practice it to a point, and so our best of our knowledge to make it as safe as we know we can. Use all the technology and all the science to figure it out to our best of our knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So we can make it safe. But there might be things that we won't understand until we're in it, right? They can send dummies to a point, but you know, technology, they might be able to have somebody drive it from a drone and figure it out, but, you know, it'll be safe. They'll do a number of amount of tests to make it safe, and okay, it's safe. We've done it this many times, but then once people and humans and human interactions actually start happening with these kind of machines, then it's gonna be like, well, let's see how long before, like, you know, you fly a plane, like a pilot flies a plane 200 and something times, right? A pilot flies a plane every day, right? And nothing happens to that pilot. Eventually, you think there's statistics because he's in. Eventually, something might happen, right?
Yeah.
Just like space travel, it might be secured to a point where like it's a long time before something finally happens. But when it does, it's gonna be fucking crazy. Like imagine
That's gonna be noticed.
a bus full of like 70 people, and all of a sudden shit fucks up, and the bus just goes floating off into space. Or it blows up, or something happens, and all the people get sucked out into the void of space, and they're dead.
Yeah, and then that's a whole new safety precaution.
Precaution.
And then that's national news. 25 people died in space race.
Space bus blew up and fucking sent out 50 people into the void of space. We were only able to recover 20 of those people, but they are dead.
And they have horrific...
They were exposed to the elements of space and are dead now.
Right, now they have horrific disfigurements.
Disfigurements, or they're just dead. Because I mean, if you watch sciences behind like what happens when human bodies are exposed to the void of space with no protection.
Yeah, it's like an air suction thing or something.
You're like, they say your body like expands, you like get big. I'm like, that sounds really painful.
Yeah, there's some weird shit.
Weird shit.
Your body heats up and then your blood boils. All kinds of different shit.
So much different shit. That fucking sounds horrible, right? Like, imagine you think you're safe on this bus. Like when you're on a plane. When you're on a plane, you feel like at any point shit can go wrong because there's already been accounts of shit going wrong on planes. So there's that paranoia. But imagine you're on a space, you know, when you're on a plane and you're just happy and you're just like, all of a sudden the plane's like, wah, 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 and it starts nose diving, and then you're dead. Like you're part of that statistic.
And you can feel it. You're just like.
And shit still happens to this day. Like there's still pilots that crash planes to this day. There's still planes that go down and people die, bro.
Yeah.
That shit's fucking scary.
Still happens.
Still happens. I'm like, how good? Like, see how like, and we think we have planes figured out, but this shit's still happening.
It's rare though, that's for sure.
It's rare. It's rarer now, but still,
it still happens.
It still happens, and that sucks, bro. And I'm paranoid as fuck when I get on a plane, bro. I hate planes.
Yeah.
Like it's nice when you're like in the air and it's like cool when it's calm and you're like looking out the window.
But the takeoff and the landing
is always, to me, the worst. To me, it's worse. I heard the takeoff is the more sketchier part. The takeoff is worse than the actual landing.
Yeah.
And I can understand why. My homie's a pilot. One of my good friends is actually a pilot. He's pretty good.
Dope.
And he explains to me a lot of shit. And he's like, well, honestly, the takeoff is if the takeoff goes well, then most of the time you're good. It's only when something fucked up happens, like a plane flies through a fucking cloud during a thunderstorm, that something might really bad happen. But pilots aren't really supposed to take those kind of chances.
Yeah, they know. Yeah, they see it. They're like, oh, there's a bunch of clouds coming up. Let's start flying this way or something.
They gotta tell air control because there's air traffic control, and you don't want to crash.
Planes
you don't want to crash
yeah.
into a motherfucking plane.
I saw Breaking Bad. I know what's up.
That shit's scary. Well, I fucking knew about that shit before Breaking Bad. I'm like, I used to be scared, bro. Like,
yeah, that sounds crazy.
That's what I'm telling you, man. Plane travel and all that shit is like, we still, to this modern day, we think we have so much shit figured out, but we're still suffering. So when new technology comes along, like I won't be surprised to hear one day that video games and all this shit that we have is going to be very fucking bad for our health. Because somebody told me that it takes motherfuckers like hundreds or like years to understand medication when they make a new medicine to really see how it affects humans over a span of time.
I mean, that's the same thing with remember when cell phones first came out? They were like, oh, you're getting radiation because you always have your phone by you.
In reality, there's radiation in everything. So our whole world
dick has
covered.
Radiation.
Everything
bro.
is covered, but it's just levels of radiation is different. They say everything naturally just has radiation, but I'm not. But like things that we didn't see coming, right? Like you think, oh, that's something radiation. What if it's not radiation that kills us from the technology, but something else from the technology we don't know about?
5G, bro.
People start dying from using fucking virtual realities, and we're like, well, it's not giving them brain tumors, but they're still dying for some reason. Why does it happen? There might be some new reason why something killed you, right? Like motherfuckers when they were smoking cigarettes, they didn't know that cigarettes keep you cancer for the longest time, and motherfuckers were just like, I don't know why it can hurt. I can't breathe.
My lungs fucking hurt. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Must have been those hot tea I drank.
Must have been fucking. I must just need to exercise more. Who knows, right? We don't understand shit until we have the technology. It's weird how like the way we measure things.
Yeah.
Like who invented the X-ray? Who invented like
well, I mean,
all this shit?
We know. We just have to look it up.
We look it up, but like just imagine like how crazy it is to have to invent something that lets us see things from a different perspective, like microscopes to be able to see cells, right? Having like really electric magnetic things to be able to see cancer in your body. to have all this technology to detect things. And you know, I think it's crazy. Like, oh, that's the shit that's crazy.
And that blows me away too, because people are always like, oh, there's like different dimensions in front of our face, and like we live in a bunch of dimensions. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like I can't see
But
fucking.
I can only perceive what I can see right now.
But that's why we have technology to see those different dimensions. Like literally, the microscopic dimension.
Yeah, it's like 2D.
Is different than ours. Like literally, it's like you literally take a dude.
And it's just like
it's a whole different world there.
2D world, and you just seen all these organisms moving together and shit like that, and it's crazy to us, right? That shit's wild.
And that's
feel wild. Like, how did we get the technology to figure that out? How did somebody figure that out one day? Like,
we're badass.
We're badass. Well, some of us are badass. If we were to be honest, like,
but it was broken glass, I think, or something. It refracted off it. They looked at it. They're like, "Holy shit, look at it!" And they kept moving it, and it got closer. And the way they did it, they're like testing it out, different aspects. And shit.
Well, I mean, some things are like accidental discoveries, but to have that accidental discovery and then to spark the like minds of certain people until it finally hits a fucking genius motherfucker that's just like, and then makes something, invents it, and all of a sudden this dude just invented this new piece of technology that takes humans way to a different new wave of like understanding, right?
Yeah.
Like, remember when the microscope to be able to see cells was one game changer, right? Oh shit, we can see what's in our bodies, and look, there's these little things that move, and then to have the technology to go even further and see it in different arms, and like, oh shit.
Yeah, because that literally nobody ever thought that there was a world inside of water.
Inside of water, nobody thought there was a world inside their body until they just thought they had what. Their organs and shit, like
exactly. That's
they
crazy.
just thought their organs were, but they didn't know that inside your organs are millions and millions, trillions of little cells working together to keep your body intact.
That's why I love that movie. Ever seen that movie Osmosis Jones?
Yeah, this is another movie. This is this anime you should actually check out if you like Osmosis Jones and the idea like that. Watch Cells at Work. It's on Netflix.
All right.
It's like Osmosis Jones, but it's like anime and it's pretty dope. You never see the human body,
but you get the idea of it.
But it's like a human-like world inside a human body, but they're working to be like there's people that are classified as red cells and then like white blood cells, and they all wear like uniforms that tells them what they are. It's dope. Like if you like Osmosis Jones, you'll like Cells at Work.
I'll check that out. Irvin, we've been here for 2 hours now.
I know, right? This has been a long fucking podcast.
This is dope, man. You want to give a shout out to anybody? Let them know where they can find you.
Man, fucking soy swervin _91 on Instagram or swervin.91 on or Snapchat.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to put that stuff in
I'm giving the links in the description this time.
Get some shit going.
Bro.
Irvin, we're gonna do this again next week.
Next week
we'll have your fucking homie on, right? He's still down to come on Thursday.
Jeremy. Yep.
Yeah, we'll have him on Thursday. Have a chat with him, and then we'll have you back on Friday. Do the same old thing all over again. That's what's up, guys. Guys, thank you for tuning in. You guys know what's up. MuseMe TV. Check me out all social media sites. MuseMe TV, Twitter, MuseMe TV, Facebook, Instagram. You guys give it to me. I gotta play some Animal Crossing, bro. Peace.